Three cinephiles have come together to bring you strong opinions, controversial statements, epic battles, and plenty of fun. Introducing our host, the man who watches 52 movies a week, drinks 52 beers a movie, loves women but hates the woman. From the foreign land of Canada, our host, Mood616. He is widely known as the man who talks too much. His worst enemies are Postmaster P and Pee-wee Herman. He said Hellraiser was overrated and Leprechaun Origins wouldn't suck. He's the full-blooded half-Mexican, JP. Finally, we have the man who doesn't talk enough. He is best friends with Sean S. Cunningham. His favorite horror movie is Gummo. He is your favorite Jew and mine, Jeremy. Together they are known for extending a helping hand to vampircons everywhere. They are the 22 shots of moods and horror.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 105 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, the legend of the Canadian six-fingered shocker master blaster. Rumor has it that his extra finger will make you fart to orgasm, aka Moods. Okay. On my right-hand side, we have the legend of the Mexican burrito. Rumor has it, if you eat this special dish, he will argue everything to the death for no apparent reason, and then shit your pants for no apparent reason. Double Shot J, also known as JP. And finally, we have the legend of the man who spent $50,000 on his education, and now he can only pronounce names incorrectly and say dirty words like fuck and call everybody purple-headed mule penises.
Hackers.
NES Ruler, a.k.a.
Hackers.
Jeremy.
All the fuckers.
You forgot that he literally does not know his ABCs. Literally.
I actually thought
Dude,
about
that clip, I was listening to the show back during the edit, and I was like, oh my god, he did it twice too. It was so bad.
No, my favorite part about that whole conversation is that he asked us if it was right. He actually took the time to mentally ask us if that was correct.
I don't even think you could blame that on a brain fart.
That's correct, right, guys?
I don't even... Do you have an excuse for this one?
He is totally... He's wordless.
Speechless, man.
He can't... That's ridiculous.
Oh,
$50,000, Jeremy.
It's brutal. Listen. I know we joke with Jeremy about him pronouncing names wrong. Dude, there are literally so many. Like, it's insane. I
Lance
would love
Henderson.
Lewis to make a... Dude, Luis, please start going back.
You fucking
Dude, I
you just said his name wrong, you fucking asshole.
I literally had forgot about that one, and I was listening to that clip again, and I was fucking rolling. Lance Henderson.
Dude,
my favorite one, though.
God, for the love of God, please. On episode 100 alone, there's 3. Please start from the beginning and find these, dude. Find them. Like, I don't care how long it takes you. This will be the most epic best
He's in the
stuff.
Hall of Fuckers, so fuck him.
Can we get an update on the Hall of Fuckers? So, Jeremy's starting this thing called the Hall of Fuckers. Care to explain what this is?
Well, the Hall of Fuckers are people who think that they are cool, and this include me. See, I just fucking misspoke. Don't include me in the awesomeness when they're talking about the show. For example, our good friend Mr. Jerry. Fuck you, Jerry. You didn't talk about me. So, of course, Jerry's in the Hall of Fuckers. Got another dude. Fuck Tim. Tim was last week. Tim, forgot what Tim did, but I know I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try. So, fuck Tim. We got a new guy, Steven. I think, JP, you showed me this one. Am I correct?
Who's the one that called you the other guy? Because that was literally fucking hilarity.
Well, actually, you know what?
Pure hilarity.
We do need to read those iTunes reviews. So
do it. I'm pulling them up now. Don't worry.
I actually have them. So this is a good segue.
I'm not doing yet.
What?
We got Fuck Steven. I think he left a comment on one of your videos saying something dicky about me.
Yeah.
So fuck Steven. We got Fuck Louise.
I feel like Louise should not be in the Hall of Fuckers.
Well, guess what? Fuck Louise because he said that Moods is the main reason why the show is so good. All thanks to you, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Fuck
no.
What about me and JP?
I know how Luis actually feels about me, and he loves me. Literally loves me. So I know that is not true, and he was just putting on a show, so I know that. And I feel like you should reevaluate his entry into the Hall of Fuckers. I understand that you need to have this Hall of Fuckers, but I feel like you can't just let anybody in.
Well, just put it this way. I'll start sending you guys screenshots of PMs that I get that are people specifically talking about Jeremy. This Hall of Fuckers list will get out of control. But then I feel like I'm just kind of breaking this confidence, that they're sending me these things as PMs for a reason.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we have.
I'm just trying to get Jerry super paranoid right now. He's like, "What do you mean you're getting all these PMs?
I don't give
What are
a
they
shit.
saying? What are they saying about me?
I don't give a shit." And we have hashtag fuck.
Yeah,
Mike.
you don't give a shit like you didn't just create a Hall of Fuckers segment.
Hall of Fuckers. Hashtag fuck
Hall
Mike.
Of Fuckers.
Mike Burns who from iTunes. You're a fucking dick. You don't deserve to win a prize because you got a review on iTunes. But fuck you. You fucking piece of shit, JP, if you want to do the honors and read the review, and then I'll rip him a new one.
Okay, so actually there are a few reviews, and we do say that we're going to read these, so very quickly. We have a 5-star from Walshy, one of the very few truly great horror podcasts, full 5 stars. Full 5-star show here, everyone. Don't miss it. I have been a podcast listener since people didn't even know what a podcast was. My passion is horror films and everything involved in the horror world. Before I started doing my own podcast, I listened to easily 100 different horror podcasts. There are less than 5 that I actually still get excited to listen to, and this is one of them. These guys know their stuff, and just give
wow, we are in the top 95% out there.
Our enjoyment, yeah. Just keep doing what you've been doing, and I will still be here listening. I appreciate all the enjoyment you have given my ears over all this time, and bonus points for being insane collectors of the horror genre stuff, like myself, Larry Walsh, aka Walshy from the Horrorcast. Big shout out to the Horrorcast, homies over there, Mark Nato, Walshy, and Horror Gal Susan, I think.
Oh yeah, who's that guy from Blumhouse? Because he didn't include us on his list, so fuck the guy from Blumhouse.
Yeah, right.
He's in the Hall of Fuckers.
Yeah, that guy is in the Hall of Fuckers. Jambo 1981, great cast, 5 stars. Love this podcast. The format is fantastic. I love the discussion and the guys have about movies.h. So I don't know what that means. Nudie 28. It's like porn for your ears.
Hashtag fuck Neil. Fuck you, Neil. You fucking bitch.
From NFW, which is no fucking
Neil.
way. Not for work. He says, it's like porn for your ears. JP, Bad News Moods, and the other guy.
Yeah, well, fuck you. I'll show you the other guy, you fucking piece of shit.
Man, what a trio they are.
No. Stop talking, JP.
Bad News Moods? I've never heard that before.
Fucking asshole, Neil. And then he goes on the Facebook page and he makes funny memes of me.
Dude, those were the greatest. The other guy. That was awesome.
Fuck you.
I literally... I burst out laughing, dude. That was fucking so funny.
Listen,
it's so perfect, man. Perfect.
But he says the shows flow like fine wine, and no matter how long they are, they just seem to fly by. They run down series with much info as they can give. Each show is very informative. Give them a listen, and you won't be sorry. So even though he kind of dissed Jeremy a little bit.
No. Fuck him. He dissed me a little bit. He didn't even say my name, so fuck you, Neil.
Well, he didn't know your name. You just came back. Give him some time, okay?
Oh, that's a bunch of bullshit.
He technically did start listening after you left.
That's some horseshit. I don't fucking believe that. I'm in the fucking intro.
Well, this one.
I was fucking in the show notes, too, so fuck him.
All right. And then the final one here, which gave us a 4-star. Come on. Guy, what's the deal? No, I'm kidding. 4 stars are fine. 1 stars are fine if Mike, you actually have criticism. I'm fine with that. Mike Burns, great horror podcast. These guys know what they're talking about. JP gives fair reviews based on technicalities, not his own opinions, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I just don't understand saying I don't like this film, but it's an 8.5. Well, just to clarify that is me being unbiased. Because just because I don't like something, it is not my cup of tea. I don't give a damn about tennis. Doesn't mean that a movie about tennis is bad. It's just facts, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. So that's where I'm coming from with that. But I do understand how you're saying, like, how can you not like it, but still remove yourself enough to rate it unbiasedly. And it's a hard trick, and I've worked hard at it. So... but we'll give each and every review every reviewed film a fair shake and really dissects each and every film. Moods drops the knowledge on old school Italian flicks and has recommended some great ones that I may not have checked out otherwise. Jeremy doesn't bring much to the table other than screaming asinine comments in the middle of intelligent conversations and giving ridiculous reviews based on film school knowledge. I guess that's just the thing, though. Love it otherwise. I love the long form format and different segments from Moods and JP. I have checked out numerous horror films based on their recommendations from the 22 Shots crew, even from 10 out of 10 Derek. Give these guys a listen and let them take you to school on a film or two. That was it. That was a well-written review. What do you think, Jeremy?
Oh, Mr. Mike. If only you knew everything that my genius mind has come up with on the show, such as the amazing Hall of Pain and amazing other things such as the creation of this fucking show. So fuck you. If it wasn't for me, there would be no show.
That's where you dropped the mic, Dick. The creation of this show.
Yeah, it was me. Drop. I created the show.
I think the Hall of Pain thing was kind of a mutual thing, though, wasn't it? Didn't it just start as a joke?
Jeremy did come up with the joke, and then he really pushed it. I was very against it, if you remember correctly.
Oh, I know.
And
I still think the Hall of Shame is a great idea, but I'm pretty sure I came up with it though. He came up with the joke, and I said, we have to have that, that Hall of Shame right next to the Hall of Fame. It just makes sense, right? Just made sense.
And guess what? If you don't like me, guess what? You can click the fuck off to the podcast and not listen. So fuck you. I don't give a shit about it.
Or if you don't like Jeremy, I can just edit him out for you and give you a non-Jeremy version.
No, because if you do that, then you give that fuckhead Jerry his wish, and we don't want to do that because Jerry's a fucking asshole.
Jerry's my boy.
So fuck that. No. Jerry could go fuck himself. Fuck you, Jerry.
So thanks everybody for the iTunes reviews. Please keep doing that. It helps tremendously. If you type in horror podcast right now on iTunes, guess what pops up? A bunch of horror movie podcast episodes, a bunch of Movie Crypt episodes, and a bunch of Exploding Heads episodes. What?
Yeah.
And then one 22 Shots episode. Come on, guys. We used to be up there.
Do they have that many more reviews than us? Exploding Heads I'm talking about?
Dude, they didn't. I don't know what happened. I looked at their reviews and they had like 40 something, and I think we're close to 50, 47 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they had 40 something. They're up to like 70 now or something crazy.
Well, I think, but you have to, I mean, how many of those are, 4 or 5 star ones? Because isn't there like a shitload of 1-star ones now?
No, well, basically they had a couple, and excuse me, Dave and Brandon and Christian, if I'm wrong on this, but I believe they had a few beefs, and I think that resulted in a couple 1-star reviews. So they really pushed like, hey guys, there's some asses leaving us 1-star reviews. Can you guys go and review us on the,
Yes,
that's
what happened.
I forgot the most important person into the Hall of Fuckers, and that's JP, because he won't make me a fucking admin on my own fucking Facebook page that I'm fucking helped. So
that's
fuck
because you're a
JP.
dick when you're an admin. You let the power go to your head. You start not adding people.
No.
Banning people like Shankle and wait a minute, that was me.
Yeah, that was you. So fuck you. And I know he's in the group,
dude. He's not in the group. That kid is long gone.
So paranoid.
Why would that kid be still around?
You want to know why he's not around anymore? Because of me.
Okay, sure. But basically what I'm trying to say is, hey guys, we got a 1-star review. Can you rate us and review us, please? Don't check and see if we got a 1-star review. But no, I mean, it's cool. Like Exploding Heads recently got attached in that horror podcast to check out from Blumhouse, which is amazing. Like that's really cool. I hope that lets people know about some of us tier 2 shows, as Dave created the tier system. And I mean I thought it was, we always mentioned that we never get mentioned in those lists, and to see one of our homies get mentioned, it's almost like we got mentioned in it, you know what I mean? Because they mention us all the time, so it's like mentioned by association almost. And one day maybe we'll get there. I do find it funny that they just did a couple segments talking about, not necessarily negative on Shockwaves per se, but on the group page, like, I don't think they said anything bad about Shockwaves. Like, I think we all like Shockwaves. But the Facebook page, like, ridiculous, like, running that it does over there, like, the rules and stuff, they were talking mad shit on that. And then, like, Dave got, like, banned from the Shockwave page. But I guess, like, the, you know, Elric from Shockwaves and I don't know, Rob G, maybe. Everybody, like, came together and realized, like, how dumb that whole thing was, and cooler heads prevailed. Like, it was a cool story to see everything work out good. You know what I mean? What could have ended up into a complete shit show, like War of Podcasts, you know, World War Podcast or something. So that's cool that worked out. Congrats to Exploding Heads for making that list. I was pissed because the guy didn't mention us. Talked to him a little bit. Said he didn't know of us. But he would listen, so, you know, maybe next time. But yeah.
Yeah, all them assholes were laughing at us. They're all laughing at us.
They're going to listen to it and then be like, no, that Jeremy kid swears too much and says too many.
You could just fucking hear Brandon, too. He's like, Exploding, or 22 Shots made this show, and we're the one getting mentioned.
Yeah.
Such a fucking dick.
But yeah, you know, I don't think we're too vulgar. Like, somebody brought up a comment about that. Like, Jeremy is a little annoying sometimes to people, you know, who might be unfamiliar with him. If you listen for a while, you kind of get that he's like a character and stuff. But I think we're fine. I think we're fine with the way we are. Exploding Heads gets very, very in the gutter as well, so don't get it twisted.
Yeah. Man, we've been getting a lot of comments recently, and it's almost like people aren't understanding our humor. Sometimes we sit here and go off on tangents and argue about stupid things like the letter Z versus Z, and people are like explaining that to us, like the history of the letter and stuff, and it's like, well, kind of just fucking around here.
Yeah, it was just for like comedy's sake. Like, I heard it on Exploding Heads and I was like, oh, that was funny when I was listening to it. I wish I was there to add stuff to it. I'll bring it on to our show, which, you know, I know that we share conversations all the time. We get brought up tons over there and we bring them up tons over here because we're really like a super close-knit community between us 6 hosts, and I love those guys. So we share funny in-jokes. And then we get this entire, like, history of the word, which happens sometimes. I've noticed that sometimes people are like, well, just in case. And, hey, I'm cool with it because at least it means you guys are listening and you guys are, you know, sometimes I genuinely am curious about, like, what it is. And I didn't know some of that stuff. I did know that it was probably some sort of Greek term because, you know, just that it seemed like it was. And I think I heard that before. But I didn't know that it's. And what was really funny is about 5 people said something, and at least 3 of their explanations were different from each other. So
I know, I thought that was funny too.
Yeah,
which just kind of added to the whole element of comedy right there.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I've been noticing that a lot, like just certain things, and which is fine. I mean, keep leaving the comments. I have no problem with them. It's just I love responding to them too. I'm just like, man, we're fucking around, guys.
I couldn't believe the response for Laid to Rest, dude. Like, apparently,
I know everybody like loved that
have
movie.
Either got very jaded like Brandon, and movies seem bad to us, which I don't believe is true because I've been loving the stuff that I've been seeing lately, or fucking we got too harsh on movies, which I don't think is the case either.
I don't think that's the case.
People are fucking crazy.
No, I think we called it how it is. I think people, but like I thought about it.
But how does Jason literally think Laid to Rest 2 is better than Laid to Rest 1? Like, how does that even enter your mind?
Getting in the psyche of that, who fucking knows? But I think it's a case simply of the fact that we've seen the film as recent as, you know, a week ago, and I think some people might be going off older viewings,
like we said,
and how they perceive it. Because I used to think I liked it more too.
Yeah,
that's the best thing about rewatching these type of films, that we've seen it so recently.
Dude, I loved it when I first seen it. Like, it was one of my favorites.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't think people understand that people's tastes change, and also the way you perceive a film upon rewatch, if you're doing it from a critical standpoint, is completely different than just watching it as a regular film. I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about what we do, is that sometimes I'll watch a film, like look at Pet Sematary 2, great example. I used to fucking argue that film was really good, and then upon rewatching it recently, I fucking diarrheaed all over that film.
Yeah, I
shit on that fucking film. I think it's really, really bad. Well, and it's just the way shit happens. You know, our taste change, especially from a critical standpoint too.
Yeah.
So,
well, Dave is actually somebody who watched it current. He watched it for our show, which he does a lot, and we appreciate it because that lets him listen to the featured reviews if he hasn't seen the film. And basically, he came in at 6.5 on part 1, which is what I came in with, so I do agree with that. But he came in way higher on part 2. I just don't see it really, man.
Yeah, me neither.
It's very fucking mediocre at best.
I don't know if people are seeing what we're like. They're obviously not seeing how we're seeing it, but I think the thing that kills that overall film. Yeah, I think the thing that kills the overall film is that they're trying to do something bigger than the budget's allowing, and it comes off really cheesy and bad. Mm-hmm. It's not a good film.
It's not like we just said it was bad and didn't say why we think it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't seeing a whole lot of explanation to why people were rating it so high. They're like, the gore is really good, and I'm like,
yeah, we said that.
It isn't even really good. It's just decent.
I think it kind of averages itself out. There's some pretty decent kills in that film, but with the incorporation of a little bit of CG and stuff, I think it brings down that element also. Mm-hmm. The best element of the film is the gore, but it's kind of dummied with some really spotty CG. So, yeah.
All right. Well, now that we talked about everything,
yeah, man. Let's get into some news. We got some news?
So we're going to keep the news pretty short this week. There was a few things that came out, nothing major. I do want to limit the news on these bigger shows to sort of just what's important. And this was really important for me because I knew this shit was going to happen.
Well, I dropped it. I was the one that told you guys.
Yes. So apparently Don Mancini.
I wish it was Tom Holland.
Yeah, I know, right? Don Mancini sent out a tweet, and Mancini is the one that is currently working on the 7th Child's Play, Cult of Chucky, and he sent a pic of Chucky and Tiffany and Glen / Glenda. The image did not have any text, but it was sort of possibly saying that, well, Glen's gonna be in the new back.
No.
And he also, what did he say? He said, "Huge thanks to Billy Boyd actor for giving Glenda her beautiful heart." So that was the actor who played Glenda. So
what happened if we're all just assholes and this doesn't happen?
Did they not read any of the response and the critical views of Glenda from Seed of Chucky?
And didn't they listen to what people said about the last one, how much they liked it, how it went back to its original roots, and we were talking about how awesome it sounded and all that kind of stuff, and then they dropped this. It's like, and what happened if we all look like a bunch of assholes and he's not even in it and he's just being
I would be okay with him being in it as a cameo to say yes, it's in the same universe, because Curse of Chucky, the end of it suggests that this is all still sequelized. They didn't explain how based on the end of Seed of Chucky, but I assume they're going to explain it eventually. It's all still sequelized, which I'm cool with. I'm okay with it, accepting the fact that those films happen. But I just loved where we went away from them. And I had a feeling at the end of damn Curse of Chucky that we were starting to go back into that territory where it was okay, this is the reboot we needed, but let's go back to what I know. And I almost feel like Don Mancini likes that stuff more. And I feel like that's why he tries to put it in his films, because he's making the films he wants to make, which is fine on one regard.
Which you have to respect. But then again, this is a really popular franchise, and you got to kind of consider the fans a little bit. And I think the backlash of that character and even re-putting it into what we thought was going to be, more of a serious film, I think is a bad move. I'm really hoping that, this picture of Glenda happens to be just a still before the Green Goblin Mack truck from Maximum Overdrive just fucking plows into him and kills him. Get rid of the character like that.
It's very, very, very frustrating for me because
it's touchy. Touchy.
First of all, I recently watched the original Child's Play at a drive-in, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of the highlights of the night. 35mm. I completely got that film better than I ever have. Like, I felt it. It was creepy. The wind was blowing cool, and it was perfect atmosphere for that movie. And I loved it. And I've always loved Child's Play 2, and I have always really liked / loved Child's Play 3. Bride of Chucky, I liked when it came out, and then Seed of Chucky just annoys me to no end. Like, it is just not Child's Play. It's just not. It's annoying.
No, it's a fucking comedy what it is.
It's a comedy. It completely removes... It's a sitcom. It's a sitcom. If it was shot like a sitcom, it would be a sitcom.
With the laugh track and all that.
If you're gonna have random cameos from like John Waters in your film and shit like that, come on, man. Redman. It's turning itself into something we as the true fans we definitely don't want to see, man.
Yeah, like they need to keep, and then Curse of Chucky comes out and we all praise it. It made my top 10 in 2013. Like, it was great. It was awesome. It was a return to form. It was creepy.
It was back to dark Chucky.
Yeah, and they even had a little bit of like modern Chucky in there, you know, like
the end.
Yeah, and I was cool with that. I just want it to be Chucky as we know him. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to be dark and serious. Like, Chucky was always kind of funny. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being
funny
kind of
in the first one,
because the serial killer Charles Lee Ray is kind of a funny guy. Like, so of course he's gonna be still funny, but I don't want to see this slapstick ridiculous humor. I'm okay with Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly's character.
Well, the first couple films have that dark humor. You know, it's showcasing that.
That's the ugliest style I've ever seen.
Yeah. You know, as a serial killer, you can still have dark humor, you know?
Yeah. But I'm nervous about this. I'm going to completely withhold my complete judgment until we actually see the film, obviously. But, you know, definitely when I say, and I said this to Moods before, it's okay to have like what is it? What is the word?
Prejudgments?
Prejudgments, yeah, sure. Preconceived notions about a movie when you have a limited information on it. You just can't roll with that and bank on it. It's okay to have these conversations and these initial opinions. But when you go to see the movie, that's when you have to be open.
But this is exactly what they're going for. You know, they're not going to post a picture of Glenda and not want us to discuss it.
Well, maybe that's why he did it.
And create these preconceived notions of what this film's going to be. I mean,
well, maybe
there's no point in posting that picture if they're not going to put that character in there. It's a matter of how much they're going to use that character in there, though. I mean,
we're talking about the film, so maybe he's just trolling us.
He could be just fucking around too. I mean, that would be very strange. And again, it creates buzz. I mean, the thing is, you don't need the Glenda character to create buzz for a new Child's Play sequel. The franchise speaks for itself.
Is it the worst character ever introduced to a slasher franchise?
Without
question. It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah. I mean,
why?
Ginger Dead Man's a better character.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so that's the news.
Like, it's really bad. Yeah.
That's the only thing I wanted to discuss. I think you guys know our opinions on it, and you know, I'm sure that many of you agree with me. I would like to see somebody be like, "Oh, I actually really love the Glenda character." And I'd be like,
the funny thing is,
asshole.
The funny thing is, when I first seen that picture, you know, I was kind of thinking about it, and I was going, I wonder if they're doing it as a feeler. You know, they haven't incorporated, or they have an idea to incorporate Glenda. So what they're doing is they're posting a picture and they're getting the social critics and the media and you know, all the fans and stuff to start talking about it. And then they're considering the feedback. Oh, this
No, dude. I would maybe buy that if they weren't making the movie right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The movie's wrapped, though, I thought.
But maybe they're stuck and they just want to incorporate a couple more scenes and they want to throw in like a Glenda.
Isn't it wrapped, though?
Who really knows? I don't think it's done.
I think it is wrapped, actually.
Maybe.
I swore it was wrapped.
But I don't know. These things are just kind of fun to think about. I kind of like that notion of just kind of feeling out the people.
The reason I don't believe that is because I know Don Mancini likes that character. I know he likes Glen and Glenda. I think he thinks.
But maybe he's a tad bit unsure about it. Maybe he's a tad bit unsure about in this film. Maybe this film's so dark and throwing that Glenda character in there, he's not 100% sure if it's going to work. So he's going to get some feedback, you know, kind of subconsciously
I don't think that's what's happening. I hope you're right.
It's just a retarded theory.
This is all theories. Like I said, we could just.
Oh yeah, it's all speculation. We exactly. It could be literally.
You could watch the film and be like, now we're gonna think like, oh, we're gonna be watching and be like, oh, when that asshole's gonna show up, and then what happened if we get to the end credits and he doesn't fucking show up? We're gonna be like,
or he shows up in the end credits and it's like, psych. That would be the epic. That would be so epic.
The one thing I do know is that I'm really, really excited to see the film, though. It's actually one of the highlights of the year for me.
Excitement away, but it makes me more nervous.
It makes me nervous, but now I really want to find out if that character's in there or not. I mean, it's not the only reason why I want to see the film. It's a Child's Play film.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to cover these movies when it comes out, so I'm excited about that.
A1 bye.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've even watched some of the Child's Play films, so this is going to be exciting when this comes out. Do the franchise and knock another one off
Child's
the fucking
Play
list.
2 and 3 in over 6 years, so...
I haven't seen Bride in...
Wait, no.
I still...
No,
8
not
years.
Over 6. I did it in 2014, I think, when Curse
I haven't
Chucky
seen Bride in a
2013.
long time.
Yeah.
I still think Part 3 has one of the most brilliant things in it ever. When he replaces the fucking paintballs with real bullets, like, that's brutal, man.
Yeah, it is.
Whoever came up with that idea, that's genius shit. It's awesome.
So that is the news.
All right, so getting into mood swings and the DVD and Blu-ray releases for, I guess we'll just do for, what is it, June? Holy shit. June 20th, 2017.
Well, are you going to do next week's, since this show's not going to post until after this week's releases are out?
But these ones are, like, kind of so much better. But not really. I don't know. This show will probably be posted like on the 21st. So these are the releases from yesterday. I guess I will put it then. I don't know. The 27th. Yeah, whatever. We'll do these ones are okay. First up here, we got Arrow's release of The Bird with the Crystal Plumage special edition. Covered the film on this podcast before.
Italian.
Man, I think
the first.
It seems like everybody and their fucking doggies has picked this one up. I've seen a million pictures of this one, so everyone's getting theirs in early. Amazing film. I heard the transfer. It's a new 4K transfer, and I heard the transfer is just amazing on it. Because I think that was one complaint that a lot of people had with the very first Arrow.
Wasn't very good.
The VCI one wasn't great, but then Arrow did their own transfer, and for the window box edition, and people that was the one complaint people had with that was the transfer. So, haven't heard any complaints on this one. So
that's interesting. My favorite Argento film. I love that movie.
Yeah, so that one, beautiful edition. If you don't have it, definitely grab that one. From Screen Factory, we've got The Lawnmower Man in a collector's edition.
You know what's funny? Right. I've been hearing so much love for this movie on podcasts. So I was like, I thought it was garbage.
Yeah, that's
what do you mean, love for the actual film or the release?
The film.
Oh my God, really? Like, I always thought The Lawnmower Man was a very underwhelming kind of sci-fi garbage film.
Like,
I tried to watch it a while ago and I couldn't get into it.
This goes up there with Garbage Pail Kids,
No, that release, people wanted that release. Like that was a big release.
Yeah, that was definitely requested. It was a fun, but The Lawnmower Man in a collector's edition.
No, this movie was never requested.
See, this is what I don't understand about Screen Factory. Their collector's editions are kind of far in between now. They don't really do as many. But the films that they are choosing to do collector's editions for, which I understand is based on their features and things like that. But I haven't looked at the features on this one. But
like
why The
Teen
Lawnmower
Wolf
Man?
2?
And
why the hell is Teen Wolf 2 getting a collector's edition?
I could definitely see Teen Wolf 1, but Teen Wolf 2. I watched that movie a couple years ago because I do own the double pack that MGM put out. Man, Teen Wolf 2 is boring as fuck. It's just such a huge step down.
Yeah, it's a bad film. But those Teen Wolf films, I always thought that would have made a good double feature, not separate collector's editions. And this is my point. Screen Factory's always they've been very odd with their choices for collector's editions these days. And this is another choice. Lawnmower Man, I could just see this one getting a general Blu-ray release, from Screen Factory, but collector's edition, you got to commission new artwork for The Lawnmower Man? What? I'm fucking lost, dude. It makes no sense to me. Next up here, we got Life. I've heard really good things about Life.
No, it's shitty.
I think I'm going to like it. It looked fun when I seen it.
Not a fan.
I've heard more people say that they liked Life than they didn't,
so have I.
So I don't know. I thought it looked kind of interesting. I definitely want to give it a shot.
Is it better than Alien Covenant?
You have to think about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, it's got my boy Ryan Reynolds in it, man. Vancouver
For
boys. So.
about 40
on.
seconds.
Stop spoiling.
He's only in it for 40 seconds. Van Wilder's only in it for 40 seconds. That's a shame. That's a mishit.
No, longer than that, but not long.
That's a fucking foul ball. That's crazy. Next up here from Scream Factory, we've got actually one that I've been really looking forward to. I thought this was pretty cool. I've never seen this film, actually, and it's Island of Terror in color. It's in color, man. It's in color. These are the type of releases I like to see. Things that just very obscure. Looks pretty cool. This one I'm not really 100% sure on. It's called A Midsummer's Night Dream.
This cover is such dog shit. I can't believe it's a Kino. I thought it was like one of those labels where you click on it and it's like 1-800 CD collector or something on Amazon as the studio. Wow.
Yeah. It's a long film, man. It runs about 145 minutes. But yeah, then like
145
Have you
minutes.
seen it?
No, I haven't. I just saw the runtime on it. It was 145 minutes, so it's a long motherfucker released by Kino. So the transfer's gonna be good on this shit. But yeah, that cover art, man. Whew. That's something else. Mm-hmm. Don't really know much about it, so if you know something about it, drop us a line. And obviously, I mean, this release, man, when this one first got announced, I literally like fell off my sofa. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because it's kind of in the, I would say, a little bit darker days of Scream Factory. They're releasing a lot of stuff people were bitching about, and then they fucking dropped the ball on this one. Dropped the bomb, not the ball. The Paul Naschy collection. Amazing. That's an amazing release.
Yeah, I just seen my first Paul Naschy film ever.
Yeah, with Inquisition, right? Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. So, I mean, if you're kind of on the fence about getting this one, on Amazon.com, it's going for $46.78. Jump on that shit, people. That is a good damn price for the films that you're getting.
How many
considering
films
some
is it?
There's 5 films.
Okay,
and a
so
couple
it's
of them
under $10 a film. It's a good deal.
So what you get in here, you get Vengeance of the Zombies, Horror Rises from the Tomb, Blue Eyes of the Broken Doll, which is, I'm so excited for that giallo. Night of the Werewolf, and Human Beast. I think Human Beast hasn't had a release before. Vengeance of the Zombies and Night of the Werewolf recently got released in like a double feature Blu-ray, but it's pretty cool, man. You can't go wrong. I mean, this is kind of the year of Paul Naschy, in my opinion. So many Paul Naschy films are getting released that people have been heavily bootlegging throughout the years. So jump on that price, people. $46 for a 5-film collection. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, compared to the Larry Fessenden collection, how much was that shit when it first came out? $65, $70, something like that?
I got it for $27.
This one's a fucking steal. I mean, all the collections have been expensive. I think the Human Centipede one was a little bit more, and I don't know. Mm-hmm. Got to go with the Paul Naschy collection. I know me and JP have seen this one, and Alice Lowen Prevenge.
UK. It's a UK release.
UK release. Gotta.
It's weird that it's on this page.
Maybe they have it. Maybe it's an all region release. Some of these releases actually are all region. They just don't tell you. It's random. So I usually, when I get them in, I just try them out, and then they play. They play. They don't. They don't.
An all region release. I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah, whatever happened to Baby Jane? I just got that one, and I actually ordered the region 1. They sent me the region 2. I don't know why, but I just looking on the back, looking for the the region. Doesn't say. Popped it in. Play.
Prevenge is awesome, by the way. Check it out if you haven't.
I was a little bit underwhelmed with it. I liked it. I don't know, something. I'm surprised you liked it as much as you did. Just, I mean, the dark comedy and stuff is always fun, but honestly, dude, I legitimately felt bad for one dude in this film, man. I was like, that guy didn't deserve to die. I don't really say that in films very often. I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, no, a lot of people, more people have been liking it than not. So. Next up here from, I believe this is Scorpion that's releasing. The Scorpion's releasing 10 Little Indians. Yeah.
Or you could just watch Howling 5.
or no, you could probably skip Howling 5 and watch this one, which is better. So, but yeah, 10 Little Indians. Everyone knows the story.
I love Agatha Christie, man.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome.
The new version of Murder on the Orient Express looks fucking awesome, dude. It looks so good. Can't wait to see that shit. It does. It looks fucking awesome.
Sweet. Next year from MTI, we have a film called Death Pool.
What, that cover's shit.
Yep. And look who's on the cover. Look whose name's on the cover.
Oh no.
Sean C. Phillips.
Don't buy
as a top biller. So maybe he's in the film for more than 35 seconds.
He is on the top. He is the president of the Hall of Fuckers. He is the president of the Hall of Fuckers. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't even said anything bad. But
totally just based on jealousy. That's the only reason why he's the president.
Why
right?
the fuck is he on the cover? I bet you he's literally in the movie for about 8 seconds.
I'm about to be an actor. If he can do it, I think I could do it.
Yeah?
No.
Why does this give you the
definitely way better than I would be.
They'll give you the stereotypical Mexican roles. Why the hell would you want that?
I don't know. I don't look Mexican, so it would be like
that's
John
a bunch
Leguizamo
of shit.
Or whatever.
He's from Chicago, actually. No, the other Mexicans from Chicago. Guy from the Chips reboot. Pena. What's his first name?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Next
up, we got Don't Knock Twice, which I thought was pretty decent. It was okay. It had flaws, but I really like the atmosphere of this film. Plus, it's a don't film, so kind of like films that start with don't. I just have this weird obsession.
Night Terror.
I'm fucking strange like that. And this must be a re-release for Night Terrors. This is coming out from Bayview, yeah, because the original release was done by Camp Motion or something like that. They even released this movie on VHS also. You can get it from Camp Motion. So this must be a re-release of Night Terrors as an anthology film. So give it a shot. And that is going to do it for what I have for the releases for the 20th release of the week. Yeah. Fucking obviously a Midsummer Night Dream. Best cover art of the week. But yeah, no, the Paul Naschy collection, man, we got to go with because that shit is absolutely amazing. I'm still not 100% on the cover or the commissioned artwork for it though.
I don't like the art that looks too cartoony.
Yeah, that one's not really my favorite, I gotta say. It looks very similar to Lawnmower Man, doesn't it? Same artist? Has to be. Same color schemes.
I like the color schemes. I'm down with the color schemes. I just don't like the. I don't know.
The one thing I do like about the new artwork is that it's not so busy. They didn't try to incorporate all 5 films and like get it so busy where you're going googly eyed looking at it. And
yeah,
shit.
They did go a little basic on that one, which is good for a change. You know what though, man? Like, I don't like the artwork for the bird with the crystal plumage.
Really?
Dude, I hate Arrow's artworks. I don't vibe with them very much, man. Like to me, it's just I don't know what it is. It's like too artsy or something. It's just I don't like their style. Again, those ones look very cartoony as well. I don't know.
I kind of like this one actually. It's a little bit busy, but at the same time, it's not. If you just kind of really look at it, but. I mean, for the most part, the general releases and stuff, I will turn the artwork around. Like I just got the Evil Ed in. First thing I did was turn it around to the other artwork because I actually don't like the Evil Ed commissioned artwork.
I gotta do a DVD update.
It's kind of ugly. So, but yeah, you had to buy one thing from this week. Paul Naschy collection. You can't go wrong. That price. Really that's amazing. The price is right. This is a Bob Barker motherfucker.
Price is right, bitch.
Price is wrong, bitch. Yeah, no, it's good. Paul Naschy. That's going to do it for the DVD and Blu-ray releases for June 20th, 2017. Now, next, here in Mood Swings, we are debuting a brand new segment. And it is called Box Office Brawl. Now, do you motherfuckers want to explain to the people at home what the Box Office Brawl is all about? Considering I didn't come up with this.
All right. So this kind of happened organically, and basically me and Jeremy has been talking about, it started back with It Comes at Night, and then we actually made it like official, like a bet with this week's releases.
It's official.
And then we decided, hey, why don't we do this on the show? But basically what it is one, we're going to kind of update you guys on what's going on in the box office with horror, but also we're going to make it fun and have a little competition as well. So how it works is anytime there's a horror film or something that we feel like we might want to, bet on or cover, even if it's like a little loosely outside of the horror genre, we'll kind of talk about that as well. But so last week, and this is funny that we were doing this for fun before we knew we were going to do it on the show, but Jeremy was talking about the releases, and All Eyes on Me, which is the Tupac biography movie, was released, and 47 Meters Down. And Jeremy gave both of his predictions on what he thought they'd make. I gave my predictions, and then I bet him $1 on each one. So basically, we're going to do this going forward. We're going to bet $1 per film, and we're going to just say if, right now, I got both of mine right, plus 2. I'm plus 2 right now. Whenever we get to like plus 20, you can cash out if you want. So Jeremy.
All right. So this week's releases.
Whoa. So what did you predict for All Eyes on Me? Even though
that's what I was gonna get at. If you let me fucking say my shit, you fucking bitch.
Okay.
Let me fucking
you said
say.
You said this week.
This week.
This was last week. That was last week.
It doesn't matter because there's nothing this week anyway besides Michael Bay's fucking fighting robots blow shit up movie, so it doesn't matter. So
okay.
Fine. Last week's releases, we had All Eyes on Me, like JP said, and 47 Meters Down. So I thought All Eyes on Me was going to underperform basically because of the fact that the film was getting slammed by critics, and I didn't really think that people were going to fly out to the theaters to see it. Now, give it that it is Tupac and that it has a lot of people. He has a lot of fans, and the Straight Outta Compton did really well. That maybe the film would have overperformed more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to make $20 million and not a cent more. I didn't really think that it was going to make...
Is this based on the whole weekend or just opening night?
It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So the opening week, okay.
Yeah.
I really didn't think it was going to make more than $20 million. And JP's response was that he thought that because of the fact of minorities, you never count out minorities with these kind of movies. This is what JP said. It's not my racist.
That's a quote.
Not my racist self like I usually am. But
JP pull that out of the text.
JP said that minorities are going to never count out minorities. And he thought that it was going to make between 24 and 25 million. Let's just say 25 million JP said it was going to make. So we were 5 million off. So if it made between 20 and 22, I won. And if it made between 23 and 25, JP won. Anything below or over that wins as well. Yeah. And the film ended up making $26,435,000. So JP wins that one because of the minorities. So plus one for JP.
No, in all honesty, I was being funny in that text. You know what I mean? But realistically, I know Tupac has a huge following. Jeremy, this was a classic case of like, oh, dude, I'm definitely going against him on this one because I feel like he doesn't know anything about the fandom that surrounds Tupac, right?
Yeah, I would have taken that logic into this one too, and I would have went right with JP.
Yeah. So I kind of baited Jeremy off, on that one a bit.
We weren't that much off.
We weren't. But so I win that one, plus one for me. And basically what it is, guys, is it's the closest. It's not the closest without going over. It's just whoever is technically the closest to the correct amount wins the point, wins the plus. Yeah. So plus $1 for me. And then the second film was what, Jeremy?
Next up, we have the first mainstream release from Entertainment Studios. Really original name, fellas. Entertainment Studios. This is the first.
That is so fucking true, dude. That is the worst name ever.
This is the first mainstream release from these people, and it is 47 Meters Down. Now, with this film, I definitely thought that it was going to underperform basically because of the fact that this is a film that was released on DVD in January, I think, or in the beginning of the year. You could pick this up at Target, mainly at Target. And then Dimension, who had the rights at the time, recalled the film because of The Shallows did so well, and they decided that they were going to re-release this in theaters as a mainstream wide release film, which is interesting. And you can still get the DVD if you want it. You know, you're going to pay a little bit more for it. Now that the hype is up, I bet you it's probably going for more than what it deserves to go for. But they decided to repackage this movie and release it mainstream. And this one has a theater count of 2,270, and All Eyes on Me had 2,400. So not too big of a difference. I'm surprised that All Eyes on Me made $26 million with 2,400 theaters. That's pretty good. But 47 Meters Down came in at 11,205,000. Now, I thought the film was only going to make 4.5 million, which is kind of crazy, but I really didn't think people were going to fly out to see this one. It didn't really have that much marketing besides like standees and things like that at theaters. It didn't really have a media campaign for the film, so I really didn't think that many people knew about it. But the amazing people at Entertainment Studios was surprised that the film made this much money. They had a projected total of 10 million and it overachieved that. So I was really surprised. I guess the teeny boppers wanted to see some shark films again. And The Shallows did really, really well. So I'm not going to knock that I'm not going to knock the film because of The Shallows, but I heard it's a bad movie. I haven't heard that many good things about it.
Well, it actually made Dave's top 10 list last year.
Yeah. Is this going to start...
What, 47? You heard it was a bad one?
Yeah, I heard it was bad.
I've heard from a lot of people it was pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
So is this going to rejuvenize the shark genre? Who knows? But I was way off.
Sharknado 5. That's going to rejuvenate it.
Maybe in theatrical releases.
Like I said.
Maybe.
I thought it was going to make 4.5 million, which I still think was a good guess. But JP thought it was going to make 12 million.
Jesus Christ.
Clearly the closest to that one. So I'll give another $1 to JP. So that's 2 out of 2 for JP.
I feel left out now. I wish I had been able to
how much
make a prediction on these films.
It made 11,205,000.
So I literally was like 800,000 off.
750,000.
Yeah. Damn. That was a good prediction.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was really surprised.
I think the deal should be if you're within $1 million, you should get an extra $1 out of that shit. That's pretty impressive.
So how it's going to work though is now that we have money in the system, I'm betting my own dollars, right? So like if I put $1 up and me and Jeremy make a bet, if he wins, that $1 is not +2 anymore. It's not. I'm down to +1 and he's +1. You know what I mean?
And I might just add this onto it. We'll get to it in a second. It Comes at Night came in at 2,601,468 from 2,450 theaters for an average of $1,000 per theater.
So,
but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Or should it be like I'm +2 and then it's a race to +20? Or should it be, how do you want to do it? Or
I think the first way's better.
Okay, first way's better. So we're actually betting money at this point. Moods, if I don't want to take a bet, feel free to step in and take it against me or Jeremy or whatever. But what do we got next?
Is that the only way that I can get in on this? Is that one of you guys have to back out?
I mean,
or I can make predictions.
If Jeremy wants to bet both of us at the same time,
no, dude.
Or I want to bet, or I'll take a bet against you or whatever. But yeah, I guess we'll just throw the bets out and see who takes them.
All right, so the next horror film that comes out is on July 14th. So this is the next round of films that come out horror-wise. Like I said, this week we have...
The reason we're doing it so early is because we're actually not going to be recording another show before then, except for the 86 show, which Jeremy won't be on, and we wouldn't have time to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, this week we just have that stupid fighting robot movie, whatever, fucking Michael Bay dumbass. And then we have Baby Driver the next week after that, not really horror. So we have to go all the way down to July 14th for the next horror film, and this time we're going to do the 2 films that come out that week, and that is Wish Upon and War for the Planet of the Apes. So
now, what else is coming out, just so I know what it's going against, because that does matter?
That's it.
Okay, so that's pretty good then.
Those are the 2 wide releases for that week, but it also has to go against Spider-Man Homecoming, which come out the week before. Okay. So you have to faction that in.
That is definitely a factor.
Faction? Yeah. Okay.
Fuck you!
All right, so how many theaters are both these films getting released in?
Let's see. Let me do a little bit of Jew trickery here. So it doesn't say at this time. It just says wide release. So if I was gonna say it, I would say War of the Planet of the Apes easily is probably gonna hit 4,000 plus. Mm-hmm. Wish Upon, 3,000 for sure. Maybe a little bit more than 3,000, but I think War of the Planet of the Apes is definitely going to have the 4,000 plus advantage on this one.
All right, so do you want to make a prediction for War first, so it's fair, and then I'll make one on the other film first?
Okay. So, War of the Planet of the Apes. So this is a film that is just getting reviews in from around the interwebs. Fox has been actually showing this movie already, and it doesn't come out for another month. So I think it's interesting that Fox wants to get the hype train up on this movie so early, a month, and people are already talking about it. And from what the reviews is, this is the best one out of the three, which is really, really interesting because of the fact that the first two are really, really good. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a really fucking awesome film. It's really dark and gritty. It goes back to the it has a feeling of the fourth film from the original 5 films. It has that kind of dark and gritty feel to it. And that movie went on to make fucking $208 million in the U.S. And everybody is saying Matt Reeves is going to be the new hot director because he has another hit on his hands with this film. Now, the last movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, came in at an opening of 72.6 million. So that's a pretty high number, and it opened up in 3,900 theaters. So I'm going to say around that is probably what this one's going to open at. Now, I think this movie is going to end up opening higher than that. Yes, it has to compete with Spider-Man, and I think that's going to hurt it. But I think it is going to come in just a tiny bit higher because of the fact that people seem to be into this franchise now. The first film only made $54 million, but the second film, which came out on the same weekend 3 years ago, made $72 million. So I think this one's going to come in around there. I'm going to come in with $75 million for this one. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes in below 70, but not much more below 70. But I think it's going to do better than Dawn. I think people are really, really infested into the story now, and I think that once the more buzz starts to be talked about this one and more people start talking about it, I think it's actually going to do pretty well. So I'm going to come in with $75 million.
That's a bold prediction for that one. I'm going to go. I'm really factoring in Spider-Man here. I don't know what Dawn went against when it came out, but it probably wasn't Spider-Man.
I can tell you.
I think that will probably.
It didn't go against much. It didn't go against.
I know that Spider-Man isn't coming out the same week, but usually any superhero movie has a lot of carryover. We see it with Wonder Woman right now. I'm gonna go ahead and I was actually gonna go even lower, but strategically, since Jeremy said 75.
Yeah.
I'm gonna even bump up mine a little bit more to try to make it a little bit closer of a battle. I'm going to go 60, but I was even going to go lower than that. So, Jeremy kind of.
I don't think it's going to make that much more than Rise. I think you're wrong on that one. I think that's a little bit low.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see. So I'm going 60. Moods, do you have an opinion?
I'm probably, if I was a betting man, I think I would probably go a little more with Jeremy on this one. I think I'd be a little bit higher.
So I'll take a bet against you too if you want.
Because I actually like his argument a lot about how people are invested into the series. These films are doing really, really well. And I think it's just, Spider-Man already being out for a week, I think that'll give enough time for people to go fuck Spider-Man again. And I think this one is just going to get everyone in there. I think it's going to do really, really well.
Okay, so I will take your. Where are you coming in at, Moods?
Jeremy, you're at 75.
75.
It doesn't. If Jeremy's not taking your bet, so it doesn't matter where he's at in terms.
I would probably come in.
You can take the same. You can take the same spot if you want.
That's pretty much right. I think that's actually a good one.
Okay, I'll take 75. Both of those bets, and I said 60. So whoever's closest.
Okay.
All right, and the second film is Wish Upon, correct?
Correct.
All right, so it really does hurt me that there are not the amount of theaters that it's in. So I guess I'm gonna go contingent upon what Jeremy said, I guess, which is I guess not contingent, but I'm just gonna base it on what Jeremy said, around 3,000 or so. I'm thinking that when you have a film like War of the Planet of the Apes coming out, Spider-Man the week before, I feel like this film is really opening in a bad spot. It's kind of opening similarly to what 47 Meters Down is doing right now, but the only difference is I think that 47 Meters Down is a little bit more appealing as a summer movie. So I'm going to say it's going to be lower than that. I'm not going to go way lower because even the Bye Bye Man, I believe, made like 11 or 12 million opening night. So, or opening weekend. So I feel like this is going to be in that territory a little bit. So I'm going to go with 11 million on this one. I think it's a little high, but I feel like these films are still making money. And I do think this is a film that... Is this rated R or PG, Jeremy?
It's PG-13.
Okay, that's good. Because I feel like this is the type of film that'll pretty much perform like the Bye Bye Man did on the first weekend and then drop off significantly afterwards. And, you know, I think it'll even perform much more well than It Comes at Night. And I think that it's around that territory of 11 to 12 million. I'll go 11 on this one.
I think having a PG-13 rating is definitely helping out the cause on this one big time.
Yeah.
But not knowing how many theaters it's in is a little suspect.
It is.
That's a little tough because to go 11, 12, well, how many theaters was Bye Bye Man in?
It was in, I was going to talk about this, but it was in 2,200.
2,200, so pretty average, I guess.
So even if it gets around the same amount of theaters and it's not 3,000 and it's actually 22 or so, I still think it has a good chance of doing what the Bye Bye Man did, which was, what did the Bye Bye Man do? It did
opening week it did 13.5.
That's really good considering. I mean, it had 13, a terrible drop off afterwards, but 13 for that movie, like knowing what you know about it now, don't you think that's exceeded expectations?
I'm not going to say anything until we get to my...
Okay, well, it's your turn, Jeremy.
Give me a quick little plot synopsis of this one. What is
I seen the trailer for it, too.
It looks horrible, bro.
I think it looks kind of interesting. I'll go see it.
Nah.
Because I won't lie, like, I'm clueless to this film right now. It
says Jonathan gives his 17-year-old daughter, Claire... Jonathan gives his 17-year-old daughter, Claire, an old music box that promises to grant its owner 7 wishes. Skeptical at first, Claire becomes seduced by its dark powers when her life starts to radically improve with each wish. Everything seems perfect until she realizes...
Be careful what you wish for. There's all you need.
Yeah.
It's a monkey's paw. It's like...
I was just going to say, it's the monkey's paw story.
Yeah, and it looks all right. It looks like any other of those stories. And I typically like those stories, so
if it's better than the monkey's paw film that was released by Scream Factory, then this might not be
better than that. Bad. So, Jeremy, what are you thinking going into this?
All right, so going into this, I'm just thinking about prior PG-13 horror films from the past, let's say 10 years. I know they boomed in 2007 or so, but I'm just looking at the numbers overall. So the Bye Bye Man made $13.5 million in, when did it come out? January. And in that week, it went against, I think, what did it go against? It went around Monster Trucks, which was a big kiddie movie, and Sleepless, which I think was a Jamie Foxx movie. So it didn't really have too much competition, but it still made $13.5 million on opening weekend from 2,200 theaters. So, you know, that's pretty good. But then I think about something like a film that came out 2012, The Woman in Black, and that film opened up in 2,800 theaters and it made $20 million. And that film had Daniel Radcliffe behind it. And that movie...
Radcliffe.
Did you say Wadcliffe?
Radcliffe.
Oh boy.
Mark it, Louis.
So that, fuck you Hall of fucker, asterisk boy. So that film had him in it. And that film, way to ruin a good segment. Fuck you. I was wrong. And that film made $20 million. So that's another PG-13. Drag Me to Hell Another movie that was only in 2,500 theaters made 15 million. Last Exorcism, 20 million in 2,800 theaters. So this one, I'm just going to mostly compare it to the Bye Bye Man. 13.5 million, 2,200 theaters. This one's going against Planet of the Apes as well as Spider-Man. So I really think that Spider-Man is going to carry away a lot of people from this one. And I think once the reviews start piling in, this one's going to get destroyed. I think it's just going to get destroyed based on watching it. And Broad Green Pictures, who is distributing it, they haven't had a good track record. I mean, their best film that they've released is Bad Santa 2, and that movie only made $17 million, so it's not really saying that much. And they haven't had that good of a track record of releasing quality films, so I really think this one isn't going to do that well. I'm going to come in at 8.5 million on this one.
That's still pretty decent.
Yeah, I was actually thinking a lot lower on this one, just given the fact that you took my Spider-Man argument too, because I think the Spider-Man, even being in the theaters second week, probably still gonna gank some of those kids from watching this one. I would probably be coming in a little bit lower at like 6 million. Just given the fact that like I'm oblivious to this film. This is crazy. Like I can't imagine other people knowing a whole lot.
I don't see it doing as bad as It Comes at Night, and that was like the same amount of theaters, and that had a good buzz behind it. But it was also an R. But it made 6.5 million, and it was an R. So I think this one's actually probably going to do well, because PG-13 typically do well because more people go and see it. So I think 8.5 is a good guess.
So is anybody taking? What did you say, Moods?
I said about 6. It's really a toss up here though, man. We got Spider-Man in there. Spider-Man is, even in its second week, I think it's gonna take a lot of fans
Jeremy,
away.
Do you want to take Moods' bet? If not, I'll take another one.
6 million.
I think it's gonna be low. Like man,
that's low, bro. For 2,200 theaters, that's what 6 million divided by 2,200.
We don't know that either, though. That we don't know that it's 2,200 theaters.
Yeah, I mean,
let me see if I can find a number. Let me see if I can find.
I mean, just with the popularity of Marvel films and stuff, and of course, people are probably going to be curious still, even after a week, to check out this new Spider-Man film. Mm-hmm. It's a tough one, man. I think it's gonna pull people out of that theater, man. So, yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad for the film, really.
6 million. Yeah, I'll take your bet. I don't think it's gonna make that low. 6 million's way too low.
I mean, 8's not too far off. I mean, it's a couple million, but we'll see. I really wish we had the numbers on the theaters, though, because that makes a big difference.
Listen, if it's under 2,000, I think we need to reevaluate the bets, because that's...
Yeah, I mean, if it's playing in 1,800 or 1,700 theaters, man, that's working against us big time.
Yeah, I still think it could make that in 1,700 or 1,800.
Yeah, it's putting a lot of praise in there. Spider-Man's. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Interesting.
So those are the two films for this week. Me and Moods agree with War for the Planet of the Apes coming in at around 75 million. JP says 10 million for Wish Upon, and I say 8.5 million, and Moods comes in at 6 million. So let me know what you guys think about this new segment. Leave your comments down below with your guesses. What you think.
I think it's fun.
What do you think these two films are going to make? I'll be curious to see what you guys think. And as always, fuck you, Jerry. Let's go.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables involved here. The theaters, the film it's playing against, the quality of film, what time of year it is, there's just a lot of things you got to factor in. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that this could be a regular cool segment. And there's not a ton of films that come out that we could cover in this conversation. So it is, one of those things where it's like we'll do this from time to time, but I think it'll be fun when we do it. And I mean, I have 3 bets going for this one, and Jeremy has 3 bets, Moods has 2 bets, so there's can definitely be some money change. And I'm just saying right now, somebody's going to be buying me a Vestron after a while, because I'm going to win all these bitches.
You say so.
Well, I'm +2 now, so.
Never know.
Those minorities, man. Those minorities saved you.
All right, so that wraps that segment up. That was fun.
All right, so I guess we probably should just tell people we're having a little bit of issues with our voicemail. So
yep.
I don't think we're 100% able to, do the voicemails this week. Something's glitching. They're not showing up properly and stuff, so we don't know what we have, and it's showing like older ones and things. So I think we're just going to have to bypass the voicemails and emails this week, and we'll jump right into the knowledge segment, which is going to be about the film It Comes at Night. And I know you guys have some heavy opinions on this one. So what did you guys want to talk about? Because I feel like I can't really jump in too much on this one. I haven't seen the film yet.
All right, fuck all the people.
No, hold on. Let me go first.
No.
Come on.
All right.
This is really my battle that I feel very passionately about. So basically, I seen It Comes at Night back to back with The Mummy. So I went and seen both of these movies. I seen them back to back, and after I watched It Comes at Night, I was absolutely blown away. Like, without going into the review on the film, it is a definite contender for my number one spot of the year. I loved it. And I went and seen it with Carly. She loved it. We were, I think there was two other people in the theater. It was a movie that just grabbed a hold of me, and it was very intense. It was very, very, very well done. And I expected everybody to be on the same page as me after I seen it. I didn't even expect to see, that many negative reviews, or even mediocre reviews. And I was very surprised when all of a sudden I just seen this crazy swarm of hate. People saying this is the worst film I've seen all year. This is the worst movie, that's been in the theater. Like, I can't believe this got released. And a lot of people were complaining about the marketing. I was like, who the fuck cares about the marketing? These people out there are the same people that were watching Get Out saying that it's the most incredible movie. The same people that are saying that Get Out is so much symbolism and so much, metaphorical stuff, and it doesn't spoon feed and all these things. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to those people? Where are they at during this? Because I feel like those people are sheep too. Even though Get Out does have all those things going for it, I feel like nobody was forming these opinions for themselves. Other people were just telling them that that's what Get Out was, and then they decided to roll with it. And nobody was saying anything about It Comes at Night, so none of these people were saying it about It Comes at Night. And there are tons of people who I respect that find it just like 7 out of 10, and I'm okay with that. I do feel like these people missed a lot to do with the film that I saw, and I think it is one of those movies where there's a lot more going on than people want to think or believe. And I've heard people say, you're looking into it too much. You're looking into it too much. First of all, I hate that fucking argument. What does that even mean? I'm looking into it too much. I see something in the film and you think that isn't what I'm seeing. No, that's not a real, I don't like that statement too much, you know what I mean? Like, I understand it applies sometimes, but isn't the point of movies to take what you see and form your own opinion about it, to form your own sort of there's an argument saying that even if the artist didn't intend for something to be saw a certain way, it's up to the viewer to sort of mold the meaning of certain things. And it's a debatable thing. But this film, sorry I'm all over the place, but this film, I think that I 100% got what the guy was trying to convey. 100%. I think if I talked to him right now, he'd be like, dude, I literally made this movie for you because you got everything that I was laying down. Because I think that everything that I see in this film is exactly intended to be the way that I see it. And this film spoke to me so well. Like, I was with it 100%. And I'm not mad that people don't like the movie or are coming in at 7s or 5s or average. I just cannot believe that the people out there that are saying that this movie is like the worst movie they've ever seen or bullshit.
Is it one of those
like
classic cases of another one of these films that's just misunderstood and people are giving it bad reviews because they don't understand
because
the content that's intended?
No, these assholes think, they saw the trailer and they thought they were going to get a fucking boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie in the woods type of movie with something.
Is that a new subgenre?
Yeah, woogie, woogie, boogie, woogie. Hidden in the woods, gonna come to this house and fuck people up. That's what people thought.
Okay, I understand the whole marketing thing, and I understand people get butthurt from marketing. Yeah, I understand that. But do you think that people aren't legitimately understanding the content?
Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
I didn't feel ripped off. I fucking go to the movies all the fucking time. I saw the trailers all the fucking time. Looked at the poster all the fucking time, all that shit. Never once and I saw this movie twice. Never once did I think that I felt ripped off, that I got a film that's totally different than what was going on in the trailer.
First of all, it's not that different than how it was marketed, right? It is a little different than it was marketed. It's a different type of movie, a little bit. But that argument that the movie is bad because the marketing confused you is the most retarded fucking argument for why a movie is bad I've ever heard. You're telling me that the marketing, some guy who designed a trailer, makes the movie bad. That just does not register to me. I don't see how that can be a valid criticism, because what you're supposed to do is take the movie as the movie, nothing else. Why are you thinking about what
criticize the actual
beforehand?
Content given to you?
That's the same as saying, this guy reviewed it and said it was really good. It's really good. That's the same thing is going into the movie being told that it's good. You're saying you're being told it's something else and it wasn't that, so then now you're saying that the movie's bad. No, that's you, idiot. That's you. You have to change how you feel. Why do you have to be told how to feel about something? I don't get that. Go into the movie and let it tell you what's going on. I don't see. It blew my mind that I was seeing so much complaints about the marketing, but I understand if you're saying that I felt like the movie wasn't my cup of tea and that I was going for something else and I got this. The movie's not bad, or I just didn't like it. That's fine. But when you're saying that the movie is bad because of the marketing, that is crazy. And another thing, dude, is I could not believe that this movie wasn't celebrated. We sit here all the time and we talk about, if this movie would have gotten to the theaters, like, how could it not have made money? Like, this is the good independent horror that we're making, that's making our top 10 lists every year. These are those movies, and why don't they get the push? And then a film does get the push, and this is a prime example of something that if it came out on VOD or Shudder or some very, obscure way that only horror fans would find it, this would be making everybody's top 10 this year. But because it comes out and it's in a mainstream audience and gets panned by the mainstream, first of all, the critical reception was actually very well done, really well received. If you look at which so surprises me that the critics are more right than the fans on this one. The audience scores is rotten. It's below, and I could not believe
No. It's a D. A D, not a D plus, a fucking D, and they gave Rings a C plus. What the fuck is going on in people's fucking brains? Even if you just watch the movie and you don't like where it's going,
the majority
at least the cinematography and the fucking character development is better than fucking Rings that got a C plus, and this gets a D. Shut the fuck up, people.
So what is the majority of the fan reviews saying?
It's not
the people in our circle is kind of at about a 7.5, but the general audience, like the people in Shockwaves and like the very basic horror fan, they're all like bashing it to death, dude. Like saying that it's, like
the worst movie
3
ever.
out of 10 and stuff. You know what I mean?
So is it going back to the classic case? I mean, are these the same people that are saying that the marketing was so bad that it affected their rating, or are people just not understanding this film?
Is it a combination of both? On one hand, there are a ton of people who just it's a post-apocalyptic survival film. It has nothing to do with monsters.
This movie's post-apocalyptic
directly.
Yeah.
Well, I already gave it an 8 now.
No. It's not the fact. People are going into it and saying that it's a drama. but
yeah,
it's
like Jason thinks
clearly
it's a drama.
Not a fucking drama.
I've never seen a drama
like I said,
done like that. If it's a drama, I understand that it does have like those more dramatic elements to it, but it is horror because one reason is there's a lot of dream sequences in this film, and I know that a lot of people hate dream sequences, but these are dream sequences that actually matter. And I feel like most intelligent people that watch this movie and miss that are coming in at 7. But I saw this film and every single dream sequence either was foreshadowing or it was
scary.
Fucking what do you call it? Fucking subconsciousness, or it was not a dream sequence. It was an actual thing that happened that you think as a viewer is a dream sequence. So that is my sort of, brief opinions that people aren't paying attention enough. I got that 100% when I was watching it. There's actually very key moments where you specifically do not see a character wake up from a dream sequence that you know that it is actually a memory and not a dream sequence. And there's and everything else that is dream sequences that are dream sequences are either foreshadowing or subconscious thoughts, and that is important to the narrative of the film too. And the narrative itself is very, very simple. It's a movie about bad luck. Everybody in this movie does exactly what they should do. They do exactly what is beneficial for their family, for their point of view. Yet things happen that they can't control. And it's an amazing movie. I had such high anxiety, such high paranoia. Like, this movie almost killed me. I was like, oh my God. Like, you're going to watch this movie and you're going to be like, oh, I know exactly how this is going to end. And you're probably right. But that's actually used for the craft of the movie in terms of that impending doom, that feeling that something bad is going to happen. And like that is crazy to me. And the character development, I'm with you, Jeremy. People that are saying that there's no character development, I'm like, what the fuck were you watching, bro? Mm-hmm. What are you watching? I love the movie, but
like just the relationship between the two fathers is like, how do you not see there's character development from the beginning of the film where they don't know each other, in the middle of the film where they're sitting down having that drink, and the end of the film.
And,
it's like,
and,
how
and
do you not see
that
the
moment
fucking
you're talking about,
arc?
Jeremy,
it's like it's fucking ridiculous.
That moment where you're talking about the drink, like I went into a panic almost when that scene played out, because I was like, no, man, like that just kills everything. You know what I mean? And I like both me and Carly were like squirming because we knew that this movie where it was going and like just how intense it was. And everybody does the right thing. Like if you think that you're not, if you think that like, oh, they shouldn't have lied, like no, they're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing in the movie.
Like I said, like people like do it. Like I compare this film to, like I said, The Battery. Like The Battery has zombie. It's a zombie film. There's zombies going on, but mainly the film is about the two
Battery
characters.
is not a zombie film.
I know. And why do people see that as a horror film? I mean, just look at the scene when they're at the end when they're fucking sitting in the car. I mean, there's nothing going on besides them talking, and you feel the same kind of doom and gloom that you do in this movie. And that film's considered a horror film. Or like I said, The Black Coat's Daughter. That's one of my favorite movies of the last 5 years. And if that movie got a mainstream release, it would be getting bashed to shit. It would be
the same thing as this, Jeremy. You're absolutely right.
So is this another part of the argument right now? Is that, you think that's part of it?
Correct. The Black Coat's Daughter is fucking different than this movie.
So between the bad marketing, people probably not understanding the content within the film, and the fact that this is actually a mainstream release, you think it's getting shit on because of that too? Because the only comments I even read was more mainstream bullshit, and I was like,
dude, listen. First of all, the mainstream has nothing to do with my beef right now. The mainstream
No. I'm not talking about your beef. I'm talking about the general people posting and leaving their comments and stuff.
What
are they saying? Are people saying this is just more mainstream bullshit? I'm not saying you.
No, that's not what's happening at all. So the thing is, the mainstream was never gonna love this movie. That's factual, and I'm okay with that. But this was a movie that horror fans should have got behind. They should have loved this movie, and that is where my disappointment comes from. The places where I live, the horror groups on Facebook, YouTube, the places where I'm at and focus my time and energy, it gutted me, dude. I was mad for like 3 days. Like, I couldn't even get on social media, man. I was pissed. Me and Carly were bitching up a storm at work because we're like, I cannot believe this is happening. Like, we were so excited after we seen it that we were like, dude, this is going to be such a celebrated movie. Like, everybody's going to love it. It's going to be awesome. And it's the horror fans that are so disappointing in this one, because those are the people who are hating it, and the mainstream might have too, but I can't imagine why the horror fans wouldn't have got behind this. This is on the level of The Battery that Jeremy brought up, like in terms of quality characters, quality development, low, like a film that doesn't feel like it has a ton of money but utilizes all of it extremely well. Like, it's scary, it's deep, and it's like The Battery. I got the same feeling when I watched The Battery, but this even more. I like this movie more than The Battery. And to see people not only not get behind it, but actually bash it, people in the circle, this should have been pushed, man. We should have carried this movie across, a finish line of decent money, because it had all those things going for it. And I think that a lot of the like big outlets, like, the big horror news sites and stuff, I think they all liked it too. It's the general horror fan.
Well, that was my question. That was actually my question, JP. I was talking about the comments within our Facebook group page, Exploding Heads, and the other group pages that you read and stuff. What were the comments that you were reading in there? I wasn't talking about general comments. I was talking about within, because if it gutted you so much that I wanted to, because I honestly didn't really read through it. I just kind of saw your posts.
A lot of people didn't understand it. Like
myself, Mr. Watson, JP. That's about it.
Brandon liked it, but he
and
was...
the horror balls.
Me and
we're like the only 4 people that are like talking about what this movie is, and everybody else was shitting on it. And I just want to say really quickly, if they would have released a Black Coat's Daughter in the mainstream, they would have fucking marketed it.
The same thing would have happened.
No. They would have fucking pieced together a trailer where people were going to think that this was some kind of possession film where this lady's going to go around and start fucking everybody up. And that doesn't happen in that movie. Nobody gets fucked up besides one fucking person, and it would have been the same shit. But everybody's giving that movie a 9 and 9.5, and everybody's fucking sucking that film's balls, and I am doing it because I fucking love that movie too.
I love it too.
But it would have been that same fucking shit.
If this film, it comes at night.
So the marketing's like the biggest problem here, then.
No.
The
it's
marketing's
not. It's
hurting the film.
It is hurting the film, but it's not the biggest problem either, because what it is horror fans being sheep. That's the problem. It's not that people can't form their it's not that it is that people can't form their own opinion for a high percentage. Now, there are people that I trust, like Jason Lloyd and stuff, who I feel like just didn't see the film like I did. I think he's missing a lot of the subtextual stuff. He's saying that no, you're looking way too into it. That's not what this movie is. It's more basic than that. But I'm arguing 100%. I am so sure that I am right in this situation. Like, I've never been more convinced that I know exactly what's going on in this movie. Minus, there are some mysteries that are supposed to be mysteries. I do think the director has the answers. I think he doesn't want to tell you, maybe, or he might be coy about it, but I know that he does everything for a reason in this movie. It's done all systematically. And I could tell that it's that type of movie by the subtleties in this film. The way people say things, the way people enunciate certain words when they're either lying or trying to hide the truth. There's all this stuff in this movie, but to bring it back to what Moods was saying, it is a complete lack of people hearing enough good things at the beginning, and coupled with the poor marketing. That really killed this film. If this movie got released like The Black Coat's Daughter did, where it was like it leaked out in the festival and then it kind of got a little bit of a release, and a lot of the smart, intelligent horror podcasters started talking about it well before everybody had access to it, it would have been along the lines of The Black Coat's Daughter. But people were seeing this movie, like even Brandon seen this movie and didn't fully get it. I know he didn't because I talked to him about it. And he even says that he thinks he needs to watch it again because he might have missed
I don't get it,
things.
and I've seen it twice.
I get it 100%. Anyway, man, it saddened me so bad that this film
I just don't get it, man.
I
don't get how people look at the movie and say it's not a motherfucking horror movie. I mean, just watch the tracking shots down the hallways of this movie.
It's shot like a horror film.
And it's like
I've never seen a drama shot like this.
I don't get it, man.
Anyway, dude, I know that as soon as I started seeing this get bad and then continue to get bad and not get better, I knew I was going to be in for a long fucking year because I'm going to have to champion this film all year long, and it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be annoying because as of right now, this is the best film that I've seen this year, and it hurts. It's not only the best film that I've seen this year, it's better than the films I've seen last year, it's better than the films I've seen in 2014, and it's better than the films I've seen in 2013. It is
I feel like that with
the
Black
best
Coat's
film that
Daughter.
I've seen that we've reviewed, that we've, while we've been doing this podcast, and I'm going to have to champion it so hard, and there's going to be people who see it after hearing my talk and my push, and they're going to get it, and then there's people that are going to see it that are not going to get it. And it's crazy to me to see that a film that when I was watching had no doubt in my mind that this was going to be a hit, all of a sudden be just another movie that came out, and I can't. It's crazy to me, dude.
Well, I think you have a connection to this movie, like I have a connection to Black Coat's Daughter. That you're very passionate about the movie, and you feel like what you believe is right. I feel like that with Black Coat's Daughter. What you just said about It Comes at Night is one of the best movies that you reviewed on the show so far. I feel like that with Black Coat's Daughter. So I can understand where you're coming at, where you're so passionate about a movie and you think that what you're saying is actually, you have a lot of strong opinions about this.
It's completely natural, though. If you feel like an emotional connection to a film and you love it that much, of course you're going to defend the shit out of it. It's just the way we are. In the 4 years that we've been doing this, I've never seen one of you guys react to, disappointing reviews to a film you love, let alone both of you. This is crazy. Like, I've never seen you guys so emotional over a film before. This is actually just fucking blowing my mind.
It's such a
movie, man.
Generally,
so
like,
good.
when I love a film, like I remember I was talking about, I can't remember the film one time, and someone's like, "Oh, that movie fucking sucked," and I was just like, okay. I mean, I had like it was a fucking piece of the talent. I remember somebody left a comment on one of my videos one time, and like, that movie fucking sucked, and I was like, oh. And it was kind of in the same thing, it's a film that I really have a close connection with too.
And Moose, that film, had it got released, that it would have performed like this as well, because Piece of the Talent is a fantastic movie, but the horror fans would not have got behind it because whatever reason, because they're sheep, and they would have let it down. And this is why indie films that are intelligent do not do well, because when they get a chance, we don't fucking get behind them, man. And that pissed me off more than anything, because because the movie got great critical reviews. It did. That's crazy that it got great critical reviews. Yet all the horror fans revolted against it at once, and it was like crazy. And I do think that
is pretty interesting.
The marketing as well, but it saddens me because like they did fuck up. They really did fuck up with the marketing.
So what exactly? Let me ask you something. For somebody that's pretty fucking green on this one, what exactly was it marketed as?
It looked like sort of a supernatural, like scary movie about.
Like something's coming out from the woods and coming into this house.
It's called It Comes at Night, and
so people were kind of thinking more or less like a creature feature type, maybe slasher type thing,
or ghost,
like the witch.
Or
people
demon,
are thinking of it like the witch.
Yeah, and honestly, like Watson kind of thinks that there is supernatural stuff going on in this film. I'm on the camp where I don't think that there is, but I do think that it's, even if what I believe is true, doesn't actually negate the fact that something supernatural could be happening, which I think is brilliant in the film, because it makes it feel like there's so much more to it, when the fact that I can see the film exactly how I see it, yet something supernatural still could happen in the film, and it wouldn't change anything that I believe. You know what I mean? If that makes sense at all. Mm-hmm. So Watson kind of believes it, and Watson's pretty high on it too, not as high as I am, but it's really me, Jeremy, Watson, and Tom from Horrors Ball that those are like it. That's it. Everybody else is like 7.5 at the highest.
I can't wait to see this one. I really want to see how I interpret this film, and if I come in as high as you guys.
It's pretty interesting. I think you're gonna get it, dude. I think you're gonna get it like I get it for the most part.
Yeah.
But this is sad to me that, you know, when a film like Get Out comes out, right? I feel like half the people that I talk to that love that movie in the general audience didn't even understand why it was good. It's an amazing movie. And they were just told how socially and culturally relevant it is and how it's a smart horror movie. And they wanted to feel like they were smart by championing it along. And I feel like that had a snowball effect. And that's why Get Out did so well. Then you have the same type of movie where everybody doesn't... let me take that back. It's not the same type of movie. But it is an also well done movie that has a non-spoon-fed plot, that has subtextual things going on in it that you have to actually use your brain to understand. So in regards to Get Out, those two things being the same, where it's an intelligent movie and you don't have that kind of reaction at all. And I do think it's because people need to be told that it's smart before they see it in order to understand that it's smart and pretend that they get it. And I'm not talking about, if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, right, I don't fucking do that, then I'm not talking about you, dude. Okay? I know you're smart too. I'm just saying that the general audience, like the fucking dumbasses that I were talking to in real life, didn't get Out at all. And they were sheep. They were sheep.
All right. Anything else, Jeremy?
Yeah, fuck you, Jerry.
That's awesome. All right, so it comes at night. I can't really wait to watch that film. I gotta say, man.
Yeah, fuck Canada.
It's gonna be. Yeah, no, it's such bullshit. Go figure, though. It's fucking. It's actually kind of interesting too. I know I always have a Dylan story, but we were driving to Calgary for HorrorCon last weekend, and we were literally talking about you guys, JP's post on the Facebook page, and he's like, yeah, it's exactly like how, the whole battery situation. He's like, I don't understand why there's so much hate towards that film. And I was like, it's a classic case of people not fully understanding what the film's about. And I fucking shit you not, you can even ask him. I get a fucking comment on one of my videos. It pops up on my phone in the middle of driving. I grabbed my phone and I was like, dude, check this out. And it was a comment from one of our old podcasts when we reviewed The Battery.
Yeah. And
the comment said, this movie is super poopy. So first of all, this guy's a fucking retard. He's calling it fucking poopy. I probably shouldn't call our listeners retards, but it just sounded funny. But he said, this movie is really poopy. Nothing happens. There's no.
Why Dave said is retarded for being called Dave said.
And I was like, this is a classic case of somebody missing the whole point of this movie. The Battery is not a fucking zombie film. It's about two guys in survival mode who really don't care for each other, that are forced to work together to survive. And it's their story. It's kind of like an adult coming of age film. And I'm just like, why are people missing the point of this? Zombies just happen to be incorporated into this film. So we kind of got talking about that. And I was like, I wonder if this conversation is going to be very similar. And it seems like it is. Yeah. So I think people need to just kind of sit down and take films for what The Battery is. I don't know. Yeah, I think he even said the acting was super shitty and it was all bullshit.
The acting is spotty with the one character. I do agree with that. But the acting.
But I think the film in that case is strong enough to even kind of overlook that a little bit too.
We gave it a 10. You know what I mean? The whole reason that this thing it hurt on so many levels, because one, I just loved the movie so much. It blew me away. It really did. I haven't had that kind of experience in I don't know how long when watching a movie, feeling that way. I literally couldn't sit still at times. And then on top of that, man, to see something that is actually intelligent, actually well done, a film that should be loved, not be successful when it is given the opportunity to, it kind of sucks. And it's partially to blame because of the marketing, but it's also partially to blame because horror fans suck sometimes. And it makes me think that other films are not going to get the opportunity. And all the time we always say, like, man, if this would have just got a big push, it could be like one of the best horror films ever, you know? So many times our lists are populated by movies that don't even get theatrical releases, and that's what our top 10s are nowadays, is they are films that didn't have theatrical releases. And it sucks, because what happens when they do is this, and it makes it seem like we're in a losing battle. And it wasn't even the critics this time. It was us. It was us that made this movie fail, and the marketing. So,
horror fans are hard to please, man. Hard to please. But I think it does work against the system. It works against the system, though. I mean, in the long run, I mean, if movies are just going to get shit on and people aren't going to go to them, we're essentially going to get no theatrical releases. So it's unfortunate. But yeah, that is knowledge. It comes at night. Leave your comments down below. What do you guys think of the film? You agree, disagree, and all that other shenanigans. And that is going to conclude Mood Swings and this entire podcast. No, I'm just joking. All right. So the main focus point of this show is we'll be reviewing the urban legend films. Ugh. So what we're going to do right now, we're actually just going to briefly talk about urban legends in general.
Yeah.
You know, what they kind of mean to us, you know, personally and so on. So what are your guys' thoughts on urban legends?
Yeah, urban legends, folklore, it's such an interesting thing because it's so ingrained in not only pop culture, but our lives. Like, you don't even notice sometimes about the stories that you've heard and the fact that there are so many urban legends. And it almost brings you to wonder, like, why are these stories? Because most of them are not true. Some of them
Steve
are.
from Blue's Clues died from a cocaine overdose. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and so there's multiple kinds of urban legends. There's that one that just is a rumor that snowballs, and then there are also ones that are like The Hook, and you know, ones that are based in fear. And most of the time, these are cautionary tales, right? Two young teenagers out at makeout point, and they're, you know, getting all sexy, and then a killer escapes from a insane asylum, and the girl's scared, and the guy's being like forceful, and you know, then luckily they didn't have sex, because if they did, they would have got murdered because there was a hook on their car door, right? Is that not a complete cautionary tale for sexuality with teenagers? And that particular urban legend originated in around the 50s, which makes sense, right? It makes sense. The 30s, 40s, or 50s, somewhere around there, that story's been told since then. And I think that the most of our urban legends are told either for cautionary purposes, to warn you about something, to warn you not to go out late at night, to warn you to check under your bed, to warn you to, not stay up late. Like, you know, whatever. They're created, they're fables created by typically somebody who is looking out for your best interest because you can't do it yourself. And then there's ones that are created sort of to control the fear, right? Told around a campfire, told at a sleepover, Candyman, Bloody Mary, ones like that, which are our natural fear of the dark. When you're talking about Bloody Mary with the lights off, say it in the mirror, you know, stuff like that.
Biggie Smalls.
It gives us it gives us a sense, if we tell the story, it gives us a sense for us to control that fear, because we're illustrating the fear, meaning that we can kind of confront it a little bit more. So I think that is also in play when you talk about urban legends. And then there's just rumors that happen. Like, I have, when we get to our local urban legends, I have a few from my town that are just rumors, and it just created, and you know, the tale gets bigger as time goes on. So what do you guys think about urban legends?
I think urban legends are really, really effective because it kind of brings out the darkness in the inner person. I mean, truly deep down inside of myself, when I hear an urban legend, and the thing I like about urban legend stories is that they kind of change over time. Like sometimes people kind of incorporate their own little details into them, and they kind of evolve over times and things like that. I love that, and it's showing people's kind of dark creativity, because essentially for myself, I'm not speaking for everybody, but in a sense, I almost want a lot of these urban legends to be true, because it's that total fear factor.
Love if they were
that
true,
shit,
you know?
Would you really love them if they were true?
Dude,
yes, dude.
Wouldn't you love to tell that fucking story? Wouldn't you just love to tell that story of like the girl and her boyfriend, were making out, and boyfriend went to go take a pee, and like he literally got hung above the car? Like, that shit's fucking crazy, dude. There's so many urban legends. I remember as a child, and it was the total, because I've grown up camping. So I do that a lot. So, kind of growing up around a campfire, I heard a lot of stories, a ton of stories. My parents, my dad and my uncles and my family, they would try to scare the shit out of me, and ultimately worked a lot. It did honestly work. Around the fire, I was acting tough and I wasn't that scared, but deep down I was like, fuck, man, like that shit's crazy scary. Like, and there was always a part of me that wanted those things to be true, because I wanted to tell that true story to somebody else. I wanted to give them the fear factor, and that's what I love about urban legends. And there's so many variations of so many of my favorite ones that, I've heard from other people. And as a child, I was just like, damn, man, that is fucking cool. And then you would hear that same urban legend 10 years later, and it was a little bit different, and you're like, man.
And then you have the guy
happened.
that's like, that's not how it happened, this is how it happened, my cousin knew a guy. You know what I mean?
But ultimately, all these different variations of these classic urban legends, they were all effective.
And they
still
all
worked on me.
And they all, for the most part, not all, but many of them have origins in truth, in terms of it might not have happened like that. It might have inspired that. Yeah. It might have, but a lot of them can be tracked down to having some sort of true nature. It might not be exactly, and it might have been warped and exaggerated over time, but they all stem from some sort of story that was heard or whatever. Like, and we'll get into this later when we talk about, urban legends in more detail, but a lot of them are based in truth, and a lot of people have led to believe that the most famous of all, I think, is probably The Hook, or it's at least one of the most famous urban legends.
Bloody Mary, too.
Bloody Mary, too. And The Hook, apparently, is tracked down to the Texarkana murders, which also were based, what the Town That Dreaded Sundown films were based on. Murders that happened back in the 40s or 50s in a place called Texarkana, which was, I believe, between Texas and Arkansas or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Right on the border.
And
right on the border of Texas and Arkansas. This
place is, a small town, and there were murders there, and they're very detailed, and it's believed that is what sort of turned into The Hook eventually. So there's tons of truth to these in terms of their origins, and there's tons of books. There's I almost when we planned this show, we had the idea to go in the urban legends, and as I was looking into them, I was like, dude, we're not even going to scratch the goddamn surface. I feel so underprepared for this show. I'm like, there's books and TV shows. I started watching things, documentaries, and I was like, dude, we can do like 18 more urban legend show, which we probably will. We probably will do more of these, because I personally had a fun time looking into urban legends, and there's so many more to tell. I mean, hell, we kind of almost did an urban legends show a few shows back in the 90s, I believe, with When a Stranger Calls, the trilogy.
Yeah,
that's literally
I was
one
actually
of the biggest
bring that
urban
up.
legends.
I was actually going to bring that up. This is kind of the second urban legend show.
Yeah. So I'm sure we can do more, maybe on the Jersey Devil or the clown. The clowns. I think Amusement had one of those, but there's tons of other movies that are based in urban legend, like way more than I even realized. I was looking into it, and we could probably cover more of them and talk more on urban legends as time goes on, but it's a very fascinating topic for sure.
I agree. Jeremy, did you want to add to that?
No, not really. Like usual.
All right. Should we just get and read into the
first film?
First film here?
Oh, man. Okay.
Let's do it. All right. From 1998, directed by Jamie Blanks.
Is that a female or a male?
It is a male, I believe.
Well, hopefully his dad blew blanks when he fucking...
It is a male.
Wow.
Also responsible for... Let's see, what films? He did...
Of course. This guy actually
Urban
directed
Legend, Valentine, which, dude,
Storm Warning.
That does not surprise me because I was thinking of Valentine when we were watching this movie because we covered Valentine for Valentine's Day a few years ago, and I was thinking, oh wow, this is like that same era, and it makes sense that was the film, and then Storm Warning, which is a completely different movie, really good, and he did Long Weekend. I take it that this guy's probably Australian.
Yeah, he's an Aussie director. And that is the Long Weekend remake, which I've actually never seen. And I love the original one. So this guy doesn't have an overly bad filmography, actually. It's not too bad, I guess. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, Urban Legend from 1998.
It's 90s, that's for sure.
It's definitely 98. It's that kind of that post Scream era. I Know What You Did Last Summer. And this was kind of the third one in those really big kind of blockbuster horror trilogy film, or not trilogy, but this was kind of last one in that resurgence.
They used to all be trilogies at the time.
Yeah. Because Scream 96, I believe, I Know What You Did Last Summer was 97, and then this was 98's answer to those previous ones with Urban Legend, which kind of cool. Short little synopsis: a college student suspects a series of bizarre deaths that are connected to certain urban legends. So
I love Brad Dwarf in this movie, man.
Brad Dwarf?
Uh-huh.
Is he really a dwarf?
Yeah, he's small. Can we just fucking stop making jokes about me fucking mispronouncing stuff? We already know that I can't pronounce
the classic case of you can dish it out, but you can't take it.
Well, we already know I can't pronounce shit. It's like, can we just move on?
Honestly, I will give you this one. Because Brad Durf.
I've heard it pronounced like that a little bit.
People always pronounce his name differently, so I don't even know what the actual pronunciation is for his name. But yeah, this is pretty much one of the first people you see in the film, though, is actually Brad Durf. He
has that usual crazy look on his face. He always has the same fucking stupid look on his face.
I love his voice because I don't know if you guys noticed, but like he definitely has a different voice that he does for Chucky.
Yeah.
But you can hear like tints of it, which I'm glad that it's not the same exact voice because then you just think of Chucky every time. But like, I think Brad Dourif is one of the most underrated actors in.
He's a character actor, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, but he kills it as
gas station attendant,
Sheriff Brackett in the Halloween remakes too. Like that might be one of his bigger roles, and he's
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, man. That's where he got his start.
And and the funny thing is he actually kind of plays the same type of character in that film that he does in this one. He plays a dude with like a speech impediment, doesn't he?
Oh, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, yeah.
Yeah,
that was like his first. I think he was nominated for an Oscar for that movie, actually.
Yeah. I find it interesting too that Brad Dourif, he's not even credited in this film. Like he's
I had to look it up on IMDb because I didn't know if that was really him, and he's like all the way at the bottom.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's actually in the uncredited parts, and I was just kind of going through the cast. And I was like, oh, he's in the uncredited parts. I'm like, that's interesting, considering he's a pretty big name.
Yeah. Did we get the synopsis yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so also in this film is Danielle Harris. You know what's
just as bad as last week.
You can tell that this was not like 2006 based on the fact that Brad Dourif and Danielle Harris didn't get top billing. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, if either of those were in the film, their name would be right at the top.
I don't really understand though. By 1998, Brad Dourif probably should had at least a credit though.
But you gotta remember, this was a different time, dude. This was the WCW era. Like, nobody cared about horror.
Well, actually, you know why he doesn't get a billing or a credit? It's because this is the sexy cast era.
Yeah,
This is the beautified cast era where you have people like Rebecca Gayheart and Joshua Jackson, Tara Lee, Tara Reid, Jared Leto, yeah, and he's even referred to as, man, that guy's so sexy.
Oh shit, Robert Englund's in this film too. I forgot about that, and he's not even top billed.
Mr. England.
Yeah, that's right.
And what's up with 2 bad Danielle Harris performances in a row? That's 2 weeks in a row. Well, she was horrible in this movie.
I don't think she was.
In her defense, her character doesn't really allow her to,
but I don't see her
showcase
as a
her acting.
That's
her actress.
Who her character was, for sure. Like, that wasn't bad acting. That was just the character was written dumb, kind of.
Yeah, she was just a low-life goth. She was just.
I don't think so. I think she pulls off a decent-looking goth chick.
I think she was fucking hot as a goth.
I think she should be a goth
flopping out when she was getting doggy style. That's what I wanted to see.
Well,
Danielle Harris has done one nude, man.
I know, Halloween. You barely see it.
Yeah, and
but you get to see
sad.
It though. You get to see
I
it.
I don't even want to see it at that point.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on the film?
Okay, so I absolutely 100% love the concept. Right, it's a really cool concept. It's using urban legends that we all know and throwing it in with the slasher, the late 90s, early 2000s slasher craze that was smart slasher, like Scream. And every time I watch one of these, I realize that Scream is so much better because, like, Scream is very, very smart with everything it does, and these movies are trying to replicate that smartness, but they don't do it.
Especially at the end, it's like, oh my Jesus Christ, shoot me! This is so. They think it's so smart than what it is. Sure,
we might as well.
Okay.
I mean, at least so we can talk about the end of part 2.
At the ending, they think they're so fucking smart with the reveal, and it's like, no. You're not as smart as you think you are.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I agree. The one thing I love about I love the premise of this film, and I like the fact that they not only called this film Urban Legend, is that they actually perform pretty much all the kills. They kind of went through with what they were trying to showcase here. Was to showcase multiple urban legends, and I think they did a good job in this film because pretty much every kill in the film.
Job.
I think every kill in the film is, obviously based on an urban legend, and they showcase you to the ones that you knew about. So it kind of hits you right at home. You're like, yeah, that's totally. Don't turn on the light.
Even the ones that aren't murders, they still tackle tons of urban legends that are in this film. We'll get to them later.
I think like I'm gonna be more harsh on this movie than you guys because I even told this to Derek. Like, I wish I was on the I Wish I Know What You Did Last Summer show. I know I just fucking said the title wrong because I actually never seen any of those movies, and I was probably have a different mindset about these movies if I would have watched those films because I've never seen them. But...
It's not like I came in high on those ones. I think I gave the first one a 6.
Yeah, but like I think because I haven't seen them before that I think this one looks so much shittier than what it truly is because those movies are probably not good.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, that I definitely have a little bit of nostalgic eyes for this era of films. You got to realize I was born in the early 90s, right? And probably by this point, and this is actually good. So I was just listening to the 2007 show that Exploding Heads did with Mr. Watson. And Mr. Watson said in that show that the 90s were such a lull that his time wasn't the 90s, it was the mid 2000s. Like that was his time for horror. And I have sort of a similar feeling where in the early 90s I was watching 80s horror movies. Like, that's why it's funny when I think about it, like, everybody's like, oh, I grew up in the 80s. Like, I watched all the 80s horror films. And I was like, me too, except for I didn't grow up in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s and I watched all the 80s horror films because there was not much happening in the 90s until Scream. And then when Scream came out, it was like I was renting I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend and Valentine and all these movies that came out in the Faculty and tons of these movies. I was renting them, and I seen a lot of these films that came out, including Urban Legends, and I liked them. Now, years later, watching them, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, I can see the massive amounts of flaws in the movies. So
yeah,
urban legends, although a cool concept, it does have a lot of issues.
Well, I think most of the issues in this film happen in the third act. There's a little bit of convenience placing and how the hell did that happen? And it's mostly moments like that.
Throughout
really.
all these movies of this era, there is a ton of convenience.
And that's, yeah.
And
I agree.
And like forceful writing where it's like things would have had to happen this exact way for this to happen, and that wouldn't happen because who would do like, and watching these, I don't even want to begin to write them down because there are so many, just little things that don't even matter. There's a bunch of like, oh, that wouldn't happen, or like that, like, you know what I mean? It's plagued in this era of films, plagued. Like, I feel like the scripts were just...
It just, like, adds to, like, at this moment, like, oh, where were you at this point? It's like, oh, I was at this. It's like, why do you have to tell us that? It's, like, it's stupid.
One thing I will say that I like is I like horror films that have radio hosts. I almost wish they would have played that up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think with a film like this, it's more or less a classic case of killing off beautiful people. It's not so much the focus of the, you know, the writing and how these people, you know, the build up and how the killer's revealed and things like that. It's to showcase the cast in these films.
Man.
Yeah, but
it's to showcase the cast.
That's some bullshit though, because you still have to have a well-told story.
Well, I mean, from a critical standpoint, from the average fan watching a film like this, they don't give a shit. They just want to see fucking hot people get killed.
I think they do give a shit though. These films are not loved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would assume the sequels aren't, for sure.
And why are you guys hating on part 2?
I hear for the most part, the people actually like this one. Yeah.
Hating on part 2.
It's interesting.
But okay, so my biggest issue with this movie is also like towards the end parts of the film. Like,
it's the third act. Yeah, it brings it down.
Buy the reveal.
Yeah, they think they're so clever, but they're not. That's the problem with
the reveal in this film is so ridiculous because, you know, spoiler alert, but she is pretty much like with her the entire time, but it's that convenience writing too. It's like, hey, that doesn't make any fucking sense because there's points in the film where she's kind of disappearing for a second, but no one acknowledges that she's gone.
Well, it's not even that. It's like when she murders Danielle Harris's character and she's like, she comes down and she comforts her. It's like,
I know. Looking back,
so that's like one scene that's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
It's one of those films that if you watch it for the first time, you might not notice enough things to call bullshit on it. You know what I mean? But luckily this time I actually forgot who the killer was again. That happens to me every time I watch this one, until about, you know, a good way through, and I was like, oh yeah. But I find that the problem that I have with it is it's bullshit. The physicality of it doesn't make sense. What do
you mean the physicality?
Like her as not a dainty little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is not what we're seeing when we're seeing the killer. Like that is not her in that suit. It's just
100%. 100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not only that, but when you watch Scream and you see the reveal, the character of Billy Loomis and Stu, it makes sense that they were the killers because everything that we're shown about them characters thus far showcases that they're smart, they're intelligent, they have a weird side to them. Like, when you watch it back, it's like, oh yeah, it totally makes sense that they were the killer.
Wait, I'm lost for a second here on this one.
Huh?
I'm lost for a second now that I'm thinking back about it. When they're at the gas station, isn't that bitch in the car when somebody's chasing them in the suit?
What?
The scene when Jared Leto goes into the gas station and they come out. Is she in the car, the killer?
Yes, she is. Because
that shit's fucking stupid.
Because that's the scene where they find where they showcase the legend of, you know, someone in the trunk.
Oh, that's
kind of
dumb.
And they find the body together. And that's actually a good point you bring up because that whole scene does not make fucking sense at all. First of all, because the professor's murder is actually off screen. So again, convenience in the film, they kill him off screen and then they place him into this vehicle, which doesn't make any sense because
how did she get his body? She couldn't
exactly.
Fucking lift him.
There's no fucking way that any of that went down in that way. Exactly.
And nobody saw her.
And that's actually one of the main points in the third act that really fucking ruins this film, because it's shit like that. You kill someone off screen, you place them in the situation here, and then all of a sudden you're finding them. It's like that whole scene, the way it's even edited, doesn't fucking make sense.
Yeah.
Of like where her character even comes into that whole situation, it doesn't make any sense either. So that's actually biggest plot points for me in this film. I hate that.
You
shit.
Agree that in order for this whole thing to play out, like not only do you have a slasher situation where it's like, okay, I'm gonna kill Tatum in the garage, right? Like you have to plan all this out, but on top of that, you have to make everything make sense for the urban legend as well. You have to like. The very fact that you planned that you were going to be in a back seat, that you were going to stop at a gas station where a guy could not speak properly, and then he was going to try to warn them, and then they were going to get away, and then you were going to cut their head off. Like, okay.
Of course. Yeah.
That is the most convenient writing of all time. But to even add further insult to it is the fact that the girl doesn't even seem like she's capable of coming up with this creative thing, because her character is not made to be smart throughout the film. And you could say, well, it's a facade because she don't want to be like no, it doesn't matter how fake you're being, your real personality is going to blend out when you spend that much time with
because she's that type of character that, well, I mean, they showcase it the best. I think it's a scene where Jared Leto leaves and he's going to do his investigative stuff, and she's like, oh, should I go ask? She's acting like that little giddy 14-year-old girl. Like, he's so hot, and was he looking at me? And it's like, come on, man.
Nothing she
like,
does in this film makes me believe that, like, even Scream 2, right? And I'm sorry to keep bringing up Scream, but those movies really were done well. When you see Jackie from Roseanne revealed as the killer in Scream 2, like, you're like, okay, I could totally see her doing all this, like with the help of the other dude. Like, yeah, I can see this playing out this way. This girl, no way she could have done any of this, and on top of that,
without having any help.
Yeah, the physicality alone of the kills with Danielle Harris and some of the other people.
Well, not even that. Like, how the hell
sense.
Would she be able to like pull somebody up to hang them? It's like,
she did pull him up with the car, which makes sense because I did watch for that. But
it's actually a good point that you bring up that, Jackie from Roseanne revealed as a killer in part 2 of Scream. I always thought maybe that this movie was had the direct influence from that, kind of, because that movie came out just a year before this one, part 2.
Yeah.
And you don't see female killers that often in films.
It seemed like you did a little bit during this era, though.
But I think this is the connection. Yeah. I think it's part 2 and then urban legend kind of thing.
Probably.
I mean, previous this, in the slasher history, how many female killers were revealed? Not a whole lot. I think the success of part 2 was like, fuck, man, let's do this in urban legend. Nobody will be expecting this. I mean, let's face it. I remember watching this film at the cinema, and I didn't know who the fucking killer was. And I was like, really? It's a female? It's crazy.
It's lame because it just doesn't make sense. But with that said, I actually do like her motive. Like, her motive was good enough. It ties into the urban legend thing of the driving without the headlights and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, I could see why she would want to do this. It just sucks that it was her instead of, maybe if they would have had a male character and then his girlfriend had died in a thing like that, that might have made a little bit more sense. She just didn't seem cunning enough to me to set all this up.
Yeah, I mean, they were totally trying to get away from that for shock value. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we realize that it's like, okay, it's like, whatever, that really doesn't work. But to, like, I think the majority of people would be like, oh, it's kind of different. It was a female killer, and they don't really look at it like that. But who knows? But I mean, in actuality, that really does not make a whole lot of fucking sense. But I do like the fact that, that her motives were based off an urban legend. To play out all these random urban legends the way they do, of course, you kind of have to separate yourself from reality a little bit, because this shit is never going to go down in sequence and work out perfect the way it did for her.
Maybe I watched this a long time ago that I don't remember, but what was Tara Reid's urban legend death?
Her urban legend is the classic. I keep saying classic case. I don't know why the fuck I keep saying classic.
Is that like the phone call?
It's basically
babysitter.
The one where you hear the screams over like a radio transistor or something like that, and you're hearing a murder happen.
That's an urban legend.
but there's nothing you can do.
Or was it the one where everybody screamed at once? I can't remember.
No, it's the one where somebody is being recorded and everyone's hearing it, but nobody can do anything about it. And it's like, did that really happen?
Oh, yeah.
And that scene dragged on for way too fucking long.
I actually am not. I think that it was fine.
It was like 10 minutes.
The movie is a little long in general. This should have been 90 minutes, 100%.
Yeah.
But
all
you
of
know,
them
that's
are
the thing.
Same length, though.
I do give them props for not copping out in the story and using as many urban legends as they did, because I like it, man. They showcase some of them. Yeah, man. There's like
okay. So I have actually a list here in front of me of all the ones used in the film. At the beginning of the film, we hear a roommate talk about how she replaced the birth control of a roommate with aspirin. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the classic. Yeah.
Same girl calls into a radio show that says that having to have her stomach pump after performing oral sex on the school
and she swallowed the fucking love juice.
A couple suffering from penis captivus. I don't know what that is. And then, of course, you have the killer in the back seat, and then you have the Bloody Mary when Brendan and Natalie try to conjure up Bloody Mary. Professor Wexler mentions the babysitter getting the call from the phone upstairs, which is definitely one of the best urban legends ever.
What about Pop Rocks, bro?
Then we have the Pop Rocks, which I knew everybody heard that when they was a kid, dude. I for sure did. Then you had the hung from a tree while the girlfriend's in the car below, the spider eggs in the bubble yum, as the killer's next move. They kind of comment on that. The gang initiation with the headlights. We have the classic girl roommate walks in on her other...
Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?
Yeah, aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights? That's a classic one that everybody knows. The slasher under the car. Then you have the classic Love Roller Coaster song. I wonder how much they paid for that song to be in the movie. Where apparently the scream is a real murder scream, which that's an old urban legend. I remember
like the hair got caught in the roller coaster and it tore the back of her head off.
Parker finds remains of dogs in the microwave resembling old lady tries wet dog in the microwave legend. And
I love that kill.
Brenda tries to reenact the kidney heist on Natalie, which is interesting when we talk about because some of these legends become a big part of some of the future films.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so
the body under the bed type thing.
You gotta give them credit. They at least
that's in there, and they also use the body in the trunk. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, so
you smell something funky.
Do you guys want to go into ratings?
Okay, who wants to start?
I'll go first. So, Urban Legend is a weird movie for me because, again, like the guy that comments like, "Oh, like JP can really like a movie but rate it low or high or whatever." Like, yeah, it's true. Like, I actually really like this movie, even though I think that it's kind of very, very poorly done on a lot of aspects of the film. So I am gonna give it not a great rating, but I think a very respectable 6.5 out of 10.
All right. I'll go. Honestly, I really enjoyed this film for what it is. I'm a big fan of urban legends. It was actually my idea to do this show, so kind of figured I would come in probably a little bit higher than this one. But I saw this film at the cinema, and I really enjoyed it. And of course, this one isn't without its faults. It's completely ridiculous in reality when you think about what's happening. And the third act is just, there's so much convenience in this film too. It's ridiculous. But overall, I have a lot of fun with this one. I love the fact that they threw in so many urban legends. They didn't cop out and just throw in like 2 or 3. And I really like the overall outcome of this film too. And like how the whole story kind of becomes full circle and it becomes its own urban legend also. I think that's that was probably the most brilliant thing about the film in reality. I thought that was really cool and stuff. The kills are decent in this one. I mean, probably could have been amped up a little. I mean, some of them they're decent at best and stuff. I mean, you're going to get that with these type of films. I mean, you're going to have to, kind of tone it down a little bit for the theatrical releases and stuff. But, there's some fun characters and stuff in this one. It's, classic case of the very hot cast and things. I kind of like this one. I mean, I like this film a lot more than I Know What You Did Last Summer. There's so many fucking things I hate about that film. I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. All right, Urban Legends. So this is the first time I have watched this film, any of these movies, to be honest. And like I said, I haven't really indulged in the late 90s horror that much. It was before my time, just a little bit, not by much, but just a little. So I really haven't watched them like JP has. So I just went into it watching what it was. And I wasn't that big of a fan of this one. I was kind of bored at times, to be completely honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. It's just like, it's just a blatant average slasher film to me. Like you said, I give him credit
I feel like
that
this era for Jeremy is probably something that he won't enjoy most of the time, honestly, because a lot of the movies are very convenient and like the acting doesn't hold up so much.
Yeah,
that's definitely a little hit and miss thing in this one. The acting is a little bit little stiff at times and pretty bad and stuff. I think one thing that's actually interesting to note about this film that I thought was interesting, especially for the times, because they always seem to kind of do that. There was no token black person in this film, maybe except for the security guard.
Security guard's my homie, dude.
Yeah, she's my favorite.
She reminds me of the security guards in South Park, where she's like, "Sir, I'm gonna need to check your asshole."
Exactly. But I'm talking about a main character. She's kind of a secondary one, but she's a cool character though. And we'll talk about more. We'll talk about her later too.
Yeah.
Actually.
But like JP said, like I don't get these movies too much. Like as I said, I didn't really watch them growing up that much, and these films really aren't that bloody when you watch them and you pay attention. Like I was thinking about that. Like they're really not that gory.
From this era.
They dumbed down all these films. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love the security guard. You know, she's definitely my favorite character, and I give him credit that they had a lot of urban legends in it, like Mood said, but overall, like, to me. It's not a bad movie. I wouldn't watch it again, but it's not like one that I absolutely like love. So I came in a little bit lower on this one. I gave this one a 5 out of 10.
All right, so
really? Holy shit, dude! Can't wait to see her on the next one.
I actually like the next one, so
yeah. I actually believe him with the 5 out of 10. Like I feel like I was spot on with how I thought he would interpret the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense.
All right.
I mean, it's also his first time watching the film too, so who knows? It might be one of those.
This film does not get better with repeat viewings, because I used to love this movie, and I've watched it a couple times since then. Every time I've come a little lower.
I actually like this movie more than the last time I seen it, surprisingly enough. And I'm not really like the biggest fan of this era in film either. Like the later 90s, I felt was kind of, I don't know.
I like Idle Hands.
It just
They're really awkward, man. That time is just really awkward. Where it's like
it is an awkward. You know what? Another thing I took points on. This film has a really terrible soundtrack too. The music that's in this film is fucking awful.
I can't.
It's just like it wasn't as catchy as like the other films in this era. I don't know. The film or the music is shitty. It's fucking terrible. But I will give him credit. This movie does have the highest body count in the whole trilogy. So.
All right, so I believe we are now going to go into some more urban legend talk, correct?
We're going to do local urban legends?
Yeah, so local. Yeah. I thought it would be cool to sort of let everybody know if we have any urban legends around our area. And I figured I would talk about a few from the Pittsburgh area, and then one that was a little closer to my area. So there are a handful from Pittsburgh. There is one that is about the Green Man. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but it's a well-known urban legend in Pittsburgh. He's also known as Charlie No Face because the Green Man is described as a faceless being who walks along Route 351 at night and supposedly emits an eerie green glow. So that's sort of a more well-known one. And then we have the Blue Mist Road, which apparently is like a haunted road in Irwin, and it's sort of nearby a graveyard, and it's about two lovers who their tombstones apparently have like slowly like grown closer together over time. You know, could be not true, or it could be the ground shifting.
I'm lost on this one.
What?
Either you're talking retarded or something, but
what?
I don't understand what this one's about.
I said it's about a place on the Irwin Road, about a cemetery where there's 2 headstones of 2 lovers who have died, and they've been drifting closer together over time. The headstones.
So what's going to happen if they drift together?
Nothing. It's just creepy.
How is that? I'd just be like, oh, the ground.
Because the headstones are moving. I don't know. That would mean that there's ghosts or something. I don't believe it, but I'm just saying.
That one's stupid.
Okay, Dick.
I think that one's stupid.
Well, it also has ties to witches on that road and angry little people who attack trespassers. So it's really just the road itself is sort of.
Why the fuck do witches care if they were lovers? Why the hell are they moving their headstones?
No, that's a different story, dude. Same road, different story.
Jeez, pay attention, dude. Come on.
Fuck.
Fuck you! I don't even know my ABCs. How the hell am I supposed to follow this shit?
Yeah.
True story.
There's actually this one's kind of interesting. That's tied to Pittsburgh. Apparently, there's like strong evidence that Jack the Ripper is either from Pittsburgh or moved to Pittsburgh at some point. Because there was a guy in Pittsburgh who was in London he's from Pittsburgh, that was in London the time of the Jack the Ripper murders. Also, there's handwriting experts who have tied the handwriting together. So that's kind of interesting that the famed Jack the Ripper could have been a Pittsburghian. Interesting. Now there's some other ones about like an orphanage that caught fire in the 1800s, killing 13 children inside. People go by the road often, claim to have seen things or heard things or whatever. It's called 13 Bends. It seems like a lot of roads, a lot of road horror in Pittsburgh. A lot of these I wasn't very familiar with, but there was one in particular that I was familiar with. And this is probably the most famous for me, besides the extremely local legend that you can't even find any information online about Crazy Helen, which I think I might have talked about on this podcast before, about this woman who lives in a house in a nearby neighborhood that literally, I swear to God, is one of the scariest people I've ever seen in my life. Like, you can walk by her house at night and she screams, "There's nobody out there." And it's like, it's fucking out of a movie, dude. You walk past her house at night and you don't stop near it. You know what I mean?
Is she in there?
Yeah, dude. Her lights are always off, and it's just her and maybe one light in the top bedroom. Like, it's a giant house. And, she's absolutely 100% crazy. My friend's mom said that this is, again, adds to the urban legend, said that she chased her with a knife when she was a little girl, because she stepped in her yard and stuff. And I've personally heard her shout at demons at night. Personally, like, I've heard her talk to demons, saying that there's nobody outside when you're walking past her house and stuff. And it's like, oh my God, you know what I mean? She's saying, she's not by a window or anything. She's upstairs. Mm-hmm. She's screaming out. You can hear her screaming in her house. There's nobody outside as you're walking by, you know what I mean? My friend's dad told me
I would hit up on Halloween.
We used to play Ding Dong Ditch on our door and stuff. Like, it took so much balls to do that, but I was a badass as a kid, so I would do it. And my friend's dad told me that he climbed on her roof when he was a kid, and she started screaming. I don't know. She's really old. She started screaming, "There's nobody on the roof" and stuff, and dude, you walk past her house in the daytime and like all her pots and pans will be out in the yard. Like, she throws them out the windows. Like, she's just nuts. It's crazy. She's so scary, dude. And I don't get scared at stuff like that. And then the final one that I wanted to talk about is the one that's probably most famous from Pittsburgh. It happened in 1956. Basically, a B-25 bomber plane crashed into the Monongahela River, killing 2 of 6 passengers on board. Although there were many witnesses and several recovery attempts, the plane has never been found. Of all the legends around there, this is probably the most notorious because there's so much mystery surrounding this. Basically, people have said, it was actually a plane that came from Roswell, New Mexico. There's people who say that, government agents threatened them if they would say anything. To this day, they have never been able to find that plane yet. Hundreds of people have sonared the river and done different things where you should be able to find the plane, especially since it's not super deep of a river. But this is the information I have on this that you can't find online. I was very surprised. I did a little research on this. If you talk to people that was around back then, like my friend's grandfather and stuff, he will tell you that it was a massive scene. It happened in the middle of the night, and there was everybody who lived nearby was all around the river, and he and anybody else who was alive and around back then will tell you that they watched people pull the plane out, and that it was not a normal looking plane, and that they were very, very secretive about it, and they were very threatening, and there was people with guns and just military and quarantines, and people were tooken and held.
Oh, this sounds like bullshit.
Does it though?
It's an urban legend, dude.
Yeah, but he says it's real.
I believe that this happened. Whether it was for some alien shit, I don't really believe. It could have just been top secret or something. But why would what about the military? Why would they not? If it was something important and secretive, why would they not do any of the things I just said?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I didn't say they murdered anybody or killed anybody. They were just very secretive about it, and I think that they lied about pulling the stuff out of the river. You know what I mean? I think that it's weird that it still hasn't been found, and it's a B-25 bomber, and it's in a river that's not that deep. The river is probably 7 minutes walking distance from where I am right now, and it's interesting if you talk to people who were around back then, because they say that they 100% took it out of the river. And every report that you look at online says that they 100% did not, and it's still in the river. You know what I mean? It would be cool if it was some alien type shit or something. You know what I mean? But I think that that's probably the coolest one that's really close to me. We also had a Yeti urban legend as well around here. But, yeah.
Interesting. Jeremy, you got any?
Yeah, so some
Chicago's
interesting...
so riddled with them.
Yeah, there's, of course, Candyman. I'm not going to talk about Candyman, even though it's not an urban legend, but it's a movie based off an urban legend in Chicago. So we have and we have Homie the Clown. I don't think it has any relationship to In Living Color, but Homie the Clown was back in 1991. There was this clown that supposedly tried to lure kids into his van. And that he would supposedly chase them down, and he had knives. And actually, the Chicago police had to come out and say it's nothing more than an urban legend, and they actually had to investigate it and all this shit. And most kids know about it if you ask them. But Homie the Clown, yeah, it's nothing more than a get in my fan type of a urban legend. And then we have Resurrection Mary, and this is one of the more well-known urban legends. Every town has one, but it actually originated in Chicago. So this urban legend's about Mary, who was walking home one night from prom, and she stepped into a street and she got hit by a car. And the urban legend is that if you see Resurrection Mary, she would jump in front of your car and she would vanish. And a lot of towns have urban legends like that. Then we have the University of Illinois ghost. There was an English building in Chicago that was said to be haunted by a female. She would live in the top of the house. Like, legend has it, the building had like a gym and a pool, and the girl actually died in the pool. But like, the myth goes that it like changes a lot of the time between person to person. And there's a whole bunch more that Illinois-wise. One of the more well-known ones is Munger Road, and they actually made a movie about this a few years ago. Munger Road is a road that is in Cook County still, which Illinois is in Cook County. Chicago is in Cook County. And it is a road between two suburb towns, and there is a myth that the road is legendary for drawing people because there was a school bus that was full of children one day, and as it was coming up to these railroad tracks, it got hit, killing everybody inside of the school bus. And the myth is that if you go to Munger Road and you sprinkle baby powder on the hood of your car and sit on the tracks with the car neutral, the children's spirits would push your car off the tracks, and you would see their hands in the baby powder. So that's one of the
classic one. I know that one well.
That's like a really famous Illinois/Chicago urban legend. Then there's like a bunch more suburban urban legends that go on.
The poisonous candy, razor blades in the candy might have originated in Chicago as well, if my memory serves me correctly.
Well, there's like this another one where Cherry Hill Road, I think it's called, and there's like the legend where this young couple was on their way to prom and they lost control of their car. And the girlfriend died right away in the crash, but the boy was able to crawl away, and he wrote "Help Me" in his own blood. And the legend is that if you spray painted "help," or like if you go near the road and you do something, like you'll see "help" spray painted on the hood of your car or something like that, which doesn't make any sense because how the fuck does this ghost have spray paint? But, there's a bunch. The Devil Baby at... Yeah, the Devil Baby at Hull House. Hull House, of course, was the place that Jane Addams opened up at the University of Chicago. And the myth is that a woman gave birth to a child that was fathered by the devil. And Jane Addams supposedly raised the child in the attic of the Hull House, but it died at a young age. And some people think that if you look at the top of the Hull House, you'll see the devil's face in the window, which is bullshit. But that's just some of them. There's a lot more, but Munger Road is definitely the most well-known.
Well, what's your favorite one?
Local one, Munger Road for sure. That's the one I heard about the most growing up for sure. Mm-hmm. That's the one that's everybody seemed to talk about. That's not my favorite one in general, but... What
about you, Moods?
Doing a bunch of research, man, there's not really a whole lot of ones that, aren't very common. To most people, you guys have probably heard the same type of stories around your areas and stuff. There's always one that kind of stuck out in my mind. It was written by this guy that was going around BC, and he was actually writing a book. It was basically haunted places throughout BC and stuff. And the legend is there was this place just outside this little town called Cache Creek. And it was like this abandoned farm. I guess it was this family, and they died off, but the property still sits there, and no one's ever claimed it or whatever. I don't really know the whole story with that. But anyways, there's this property there. And the legend has it is if you go and, try to stay in this place, kind of set up shop and try to stay the night and shit like that, you can't do it because for some odd reason, when you go there, it kind of triggers like this weird kind of hallucinatory type thing where it's you almost envision this whole battle scene. For something about humans going into this area or something like that, it triggers this thing. And the legend
sounds like some Blair Witch shit right there.
It's really weird, man. Apparently multiple people have tried to stay the night in this place, and they've saw like this battle type scene. It's almost like a Cowboys and Indians type battle scene, but it's got fire and explosions and shit. And literally like there's a whole pile of like supernatural weird shit that's happening and stuff. And so this guy went and tried to do this, and he said he didn't even last 8 hours. You had to get the fuck out of there. All this crazy shit was happening and stuff. So that was one urban legend that I'd always wanted to actually do for myself, because I know exactly where this part. Well, I'm not 100% sure I know where Cache Creek is, but apparently it's just off a little bit. And I would like to check this out. It's pretty cool. Apparently I've drove by it a million times, but that always sounded interesting. Like this whole battle scene and shit. Like, what the fuck is that?
Well, what happened if Moods goes and he doesn't come back? At least we know where he is.
Well, as far as I know, no one's ever died there. They just haven't been able to stay the night. Like, so much weird shit's happening and stuff like that. So that one was always interesting. There was always the common ones that I was told when I was a child. Like, we used to camp at this place called Purdon Lake a lot, and there was the classic case of somebody that was out there in the winter doing some ice fishing, and their snowmobile hit some thin ice and sunk. And, if you climbed up to this one certain peak and stuff, you could actually see the headlights from this snowmobile kind of peeking through it at certain times of the year and stuff like that. And apparently people had died and never found the bodies. That was one thing about Purdon Lake that was interesting. There was a plane crash in there one time. They never found the bodies. There was a bunch of accidents in this lake, and they've never found any of the bodies. It's really strange. It's like the lake is like eating them up or something. It's really bizarre. But that one was always kind of scary to me. Growing up, of course, here in the Northwest, one of the biggest urban legends around here is Bigfoot, because I live in a part of the world where it's literally this is where all the sightings happen in the Pacific Northwest and stuff like that, right? I'm sure Mr. Watson can concur with this since he's down in Seattle area there. So this is what we have, and I've talked to many people around here, mostly hunters, that have had these weird run-ins and stuff, and they're like, what the fuck? And like, these are really experienced hunters. They know their animals, they know their scents, they know how to call, they know everything. They're professional hunters, and they've come across certain things in the past and stuff, and it's like they can't explain that type shit. So Bigfoot's always been a huge urban legend around here. I've never actually run into somebody that has technically seen one. It's always scents. It's like always these weird scents. People smell these weird things and shit. Footprints and odd things like that and stuff. But this one isn't so much an urban legend. This is actually more of a true crime, but it has a really long history, and they actually recently made a documentary about it, which you can see on Netflix. It's called The Highway of Tears, and basically what it is this highway that runs between Prince George and Prince Rupert. It's Highway 16, and it actually runs right through BC and stuff, which other bodies have actually been found on other parts. But mostly this stretch of highway, I think the killing started probably in the later 60s, and they're technically still going on. So this stretch of highway, they've found multiple, anywhere up to, the legend has it up to about 70, 75 people.
Holy shit.
And they're all, and pretty much, I would say 99% of the bodies that have been found dumped off this highway have been native or half native or had native in them. Native, Indians and stuff. So it's really kind of strange. But the thing that's interesting about this Highway of Tears case is that back in the early 70s, they actually had a suspect, and there was a few bodies that had shown up on this highway, and they all had the same type of MO. I think they were all strangled and stabbed, I think, or something. They were all showcasing the same MO. Anyways, they picked up this guy named Bobby Jack Fowler, and he actually got picked up, I think, in Washington. Actually, he was a truck driver, of course, which this is, where they think all the murders are. They're probably most likely truck drivers because they're always driving through here. And, to catch a mobile killer is really quite hard without witnesses and stuff. So it's kind of a perfect crime in a sense. But anyways, this guy got picked up down there for some other random crime. And they actually linked his DNA to, I think, one of the bodies and stuff. Anyways, he ended up dying in jail and stuff. So they couldn't actually do too much to exploit that anymore and link him to the rest of the murders and stuff. But one of my good friends here in town, his father actually was the chief of police, and after he retired from chief of police, he actually ended up being contracted out through the RCMP to do cold case files. So he did a bunch of detective work and stuff, and he was actually, at the time, after he went back to, or after he retired, he went back to school and was got his master's in child psychology. But at the same time, this guy was really busy, man. He was going around and actually interviewing serial killers throughout different areas and stuff. And the point of interviewing these serial killers and getting all this intel and stuff was working on this this case specifically, doing the Highway Tears case. And what he's come to conclude is that there's probably more than likely 3 to 4 killers, just based on certain MOs and evidence and stuff that they've had. But it's quite unclear. There was one guy that was actually convicted, I think last year, which I told you guys I was actually supposed to be on that jury, which I had to turn it down because they were expecting it to be 6 to 8 months. But this young guy, he killed this girl, and he actually got linked to 3-4 more, which their bodies were actually found on the Highway of Tears. So that's kind of an unrelated case, but just kind of falls into it. But it's quite interesting because the killings, there'll be 4 or 5 or 6 girls. I'm not sure how much of this information I can actually really tell you guys. I can't remember how much stuff Wayne has told me that I shouldn't tell. I don't know. Yeah, which is actually quite interesting because, he's told me a lot of stories that I kind of keep that on the wraps, but I think I can say this. But, there's a bunch of girls that have fit in this one MO, and like, okay, well, this killer probably killed 7, 8 of these, and then this one probably did this and probably did that and stuff. So that's why he's linking probably 3 to 4 killers for about 40 of the women. And there's a bunch of unsolved cases. They don't know if they're part of the Highway of Tears or if these were related to other things and stuff. But the point is, this highway has bodies mounted everywhere on it. It's insane. And I always thought that trying to catch a killer that was possibly a truck driver would be hard as fuck without any witnesses. It's almost like a perfect crime. Like, how do you catch somebody?
It's all probably also just a good place to dump a body.
It really is. If you've ever, well, you guys have obviously never been on this highway, but it's, there's areas where it's super dark. It's very desolate and isolated. It's great areas to dump bodies. If you're a killer, I mean, there's so many women that are completely missing to this day. They've never found the bodies, which is explainable. I mean, a lot of murders around this area, they don't find bodies because there's so many good places to hide bodies.
I haven't found all the hookers I killed.
Well, that's the thing. And I mean, if you're killing people around here and you can't dispose of a body where no one can find it, you're a fucking idiot, because there's legitimately a shitload of places to hide a body without it ever being found. But that's what makes this case kind of interesting, is that it's a big stretch of highway.
Yeah, I knew about that one. I brought it up. I was like, oh, what about that tier highway of hell or whatever?
Yeah, there's like legitimately signs on the highway that say Highway of Tears, and it's got pictures of victims and stuff, and it says don't hitchhike, because the majority of these people were all women that were hitchhiking and stuff. And the Highway of Tears documentary kind of focuses on Native women rights and things like that, and how they're, it kind of focuses more on the fact that, they were forced to do these things and stuff. And at certain points in the documentary, I felt like it was kind of getting away from the main point of what it was. I understand what they were trying to do, but there's a lot more to the story than they showcase in the documentary, which a lot of the stuff, I have a little bit of insight and details that, other people probably don't have. But it's interesting, man. It's interesting. And it's fucking scary because, it's scary thinking about one serial killer. But when you're thinking about multiple serial killers, that's even scarier. Mm-hmm. So, it kind of, it's in the back of people's minds. The murders have slowed down a little bit from what I've gathered, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to pick up sometimes. So who knows? Maybe women are starting to get the point. Don't walk on the fucking highway. You probably will die. So, yeah, it's pretty sad. I actually worked with a guy that had his first cousin. She was 14 or 15. I think she might even be listed on the Wikipedia page. I'm not sure. And his auntie were both murdered.
Auntie.
Two family members.
There's another Canadian term. Aunties.
What, auntie? No, it's not English term. It's an English term, man. So his 2 family members, man, in his family. That's like insane. What are the chances of having 1 family member killed but 2? Pretty crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. Highway Tears. Yeah.
All right, so those are our local urban legends. Hope you guys enjoyed some of those. I know there's a ton of people who, if you're from West Virginia, it's the Mothman. If you're from Jersey, it's the Jersey Devil. If you're from, I guess if you're from Maryland, it's the Blair Witch. Even though that's completely made up for the movie, it's kind of spiraled into an actual urban legend at this point, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Urban Legends Final Cut now.
Jumping 2 years into 2000. Now we're in the 2000s, of course, with Urban Legends Final Cut, directed by John Ottoman. This is his only film that he directed.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. You know what else is interesting? I barely have seen any movies that are horror films that came out in 2000.
Yeah, it might have been a slow year.
How many came out?
Final Destination, Hollow Man, Pitch Black. But I can never Scream 3 came out in 2000.
American Psycho.
Can never remember,
Blair Witch 2.
I guess I have seen a bunch of them, but just in my head, like I can never remember what came out in 2000.
Hellraiser 5.
Okay.
Hellraiser 5, nice.
So let's get into the plot of this one.
All right, so the plot of this film. Should I actually read the short or the long one here?
About neither.
Let's just do the short one here. A film school is the center of a fresh spate of killing based on urban legends. I guess that works. I mean, it's happening at a film school, I guess, right?
So, the first thing that I gotta say is I had never seen this one or Bloody Mary, so I was actually more interested in seeing both of these because I hadn't seen them before. And I actually had very low expectations for both sequels. And watching this one, I assumed that it was going to be a in-name only sequel as well as Bloody Mary. Like, I just expected that they were going to be their own stories. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that there was continuity in this one.
A little bit.
How the first film became an urban legend. That's pretty cool. And there's definitely continuity, right?
Yeah, I mean, they bring
up
up the
character.
Yeah,
from
just the end, but that's stupid though.
Well, no, the security guard is actually at this film school. Because she even has that funny line like, "Urban legend, my ass."
Yeah, urban legend.
She's literally telling the story. Yeah, because they bring up the whole legend of the first film up in this one, so that's how they kind of connected.
She directly states, nonchalantly that she was the person that was involved with that. You know what I mean? And she had to find a job. She doesn't say it directly, but she hints at the fact that she was out of work because nobody would believe her or whatever, and blah blah blah. And so this one I think is awesome in terms of setting. Like in a film school, that's really cool, and it makes sense that like in terms of the story, like this girl's like gonna make a movie about the first movie.
That's essentially what she comes up with her thesis film.
Oh man.
Or short
film. About the fucking ending. The fucking dude pulls out that gun. I almost lost my shit.
Oh, that's fucking...
I literally almost lost my shit.
Yeah. Well, it's so unrealistic. The dude fucking flies back like 20 feet.
I don't understand the hate for this movie. It's the Pet Sematary 2 of urban legends.
No, it's not. I don't know. That's a dumb fucking... What did you just say? You need to... You
know what I said.
Jesus Christ, you say some
I
dumb
make
shit
controversial
sometimes.
statements.
That's not a controversial statement. It's dumb. Has nothing to do... Those two movies have nothing to do... They're not even the same style.
Why does this movie get so much hate?
I don't know. I don't know why it gets so much hate.
But
it's
like,
awesome.
It's dumb, but it's dumb in a fun way.
Listen, it's not... It's less dumb than the first film.
I don't think so, man. I see the thing that's interesting about the first film is that, they do try to at least showcase a bunch of urban legend killings, kind of keep it on that level. And I guess this one, in a sense, they do. I mean, they have obviously some urban legends that they showcase within the film and stuff, but
I just think it's more.
I don't like the way they structure this film. Okay, let's take the kidney remove scene, with that girl.
Yeah.
Now that is the most awkwardly placed scene in the film. I mean, we're kind of getting introduced to our characters, and all of a sudden it just kind of cuts into this whole scene in the film, and it's like so awkwardly placed. It just kind of happens. That? It's just the way it happens because we get introduced to her, and that whole scene type happens.
It's a lot of build up for sure because she's at the bar the whole time, and like, for a character that's just going to be, killed off. Well, I guess it's a lot of setup for the kill, but I thought the payoff was pretty good.
No, well, the payoff is fine in that too, but I'm just saying how it comes about. Like we're getting introduced to our main characters, and we're trying to find out. She's doing this thesis, and we're getting introduced to this other character who's going to win this Hitchcock Award, blah blah blah, and stuff. And it just kind of cuts into that scene. It's like the most awkward editing.
What a stupid name for an award.
The Hitchcock.
The Hitchcock Award.
Win a Hitchcock, right?
It's like, couldn't they come up with a fucking more original name? The Hitchcock. It's like,
well, I mean,
well, Hitchcock's pretty damn prestigious. What are you gonna?
I know, but it's like,
what are you gonna call it? The fucking
name it something after somebody a professor at the school or something.
What?
Why do you have to fucking call it the Hitchcock?
It's like, well, you're not gonna be a great filmmaker. You're gonna be this professor who failed at filmmaking who's now teaching at this school.
Dude, it's literally, if you win a Hitchcock, you basically win a free ticket to Hollywood. So it kind of makes sense to be named after somebody that did a lot of really amazing films and shit like that, right?
Yeah. Like,
you win
maybe
a Hitchcock,
they call it the Spielberg or something like that. I could see as well. But Hitchcock's fine. The Kubrick.
They call it the Hitchcock because, you know, Hitchcock more or less is kind of related
in Canada,
to doing
it'd be the Cronenberg.
Thriller, horror films stuff. We're watching...
Like, what do you want them to call it? The John Landis?
That would be funny if they actually called it the John Landis. No, it does make sense for what they're doing.
What I was saying though is,
but the person who tries to steal the Hitchcock is fucking stupid. That's the biggest problem I have with this movie.
It has the same problems as the first film in terms of convenience and stuff like that. But I think this story's told a little bit better.
Really?
Really?
I think like the ending reveal is complete garbage.
But it makes more sense than the one in the previous film. It definitely does.
Why would this professor need to fucking steal something like that, though?
Well, I mean, explains it.
He got cheated out of his Hitchcock Award, man. He was gonna win that shit.
He explains.
The girl's dad was a hack filmmaker that made one documentary,
dude,
and he took the award.
The
away
reason
from him.
He's fucking pissed off because our main character Amy is the daughter of the guy that fucked him out of his goddamn career.
Documentary filmmaker.
He's totally pissed off because it not only fucked him out of his, you know, ticket to Hollywood, he had to stay at the school and he was fucking miserable, handing out these fucking Hitchcock awards year after year.
Well, it should have been him. And
it should have been him gone years ago. So he was fucking pissed off. So basically the storyline kind of makes sense. I mean, Amy comes to school.
Does make sense. And then he's gonna he found another dude who's got like a good film. He's gonna take his shit, and then he's gonna say that he made it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's essentially what he does.
And how they figure it all out, it's like, okay, like they actually did research and figured shit out. Like that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. This one, though, I find this one has some serious pacing issues because there's not a lot of kills in this one. Mm-hmm. They are trying to tell a story. There's a lot of kind of...
I love the lens kill, though.
Investigation. There's a lot of character, you know, I wouldn't say... actually, that's one thing. There's really not a lot of character development all in this film for the characters, but they are trying to... They tell a lot of story within this one. So it does have pacing issues. I feel like this one is way too long. Way too long. And it feels like it's too long, too.
It does feel pretty long. But, like, I really like the setting in this one on the campus with the snow and then, like...
I think the setting is cool, but I think the cooler part of the setting actually is when they get to when they're going to shoot a scene of her film within that mine type setting. Yeah. I thought that was kind of cool. It instantly reminded me of My Bloody Valentine a little bit.
Reminded me of Child's Play 3.
But that whole scene was fucking ruined for me because of the lack of creativity within the kills. This movie has like way less kills than the first film, and none of the kills.
Yeah, none of the kills.
I'm sorry, I've never seen a kill.
You're acting like the kills in the first film are good kills. They're just good setups. That's all they are. None of the kills are that good. Some of them are even off screen.
I even said that in the first film. The kills aren't that good. At least they had the creativity to incorporate the urban legend within the kill. But they don't do that.
Yeah, but I'm cool with that because I don't need that to happen again. It happened in the first film. That was the story in the first film. The story's slightly different in this film.
Exactly.
The urban legend in this film is the previous film. So I don't really necessarily need to see a killer kill everybody with urban legends again, especially when they feel so forced in the first film because it feels impossible to set them up. Like, the ones set up in the first film are set up poorly. They don't make sense. There's no way you can predict that a guy's going to have a speech impediment at the fucking
I'm not saying that everything in this film has to be based on an urban legend. I'm saying the lack of creativity within the kills is astounding. It's really... I mean, there's only like...
Can you name some of them for me? Because I don't really remember them, so that makes sense.
How is the death by the film lens a bad death? I've never seen anybody die by a film lens before in a movie.
That is fucking... Oh my... Really, dude? The killer dressed like a fencing champ fucking takes out somebody with a camera. Yeah, that's not very fucking creative, dude.
Why? Okay, it's fucking funny.
The first kill is the most creative. It's actually based on, you know, waking up in a tub of ice.
Yeah, that one was awesome. And they had the dogs go outside and stuff. Like, that was a cool scene. Like, I like that.
And then the next one, you know, where she's being filmed and stuff, she gets stabbed like a bunch of times with the straight razor and things like that. It's like, whatever. Well, I think Travis, what was his character? No, that's actually off screen because he ends up killing himself, whatever. And then we got, the camera one that you mentioned, Jeremy, which it's pretty standard. I mean, the dude is he's like the imported Russian DP that gets fucking lensed to death. It's like,
yeah, and then when he pulls out that fucking big camera from his bag, I lost my shit again.
Yeah,
there's some ridiculous in this movie.
But then okay, so and then going into the mine scene where she's going to shoot her scene from her thesis film, and we've got the two joke characters in this film, which are Stan and Dirk. Who is it? Fucking Stan. Dirk, I don't know. One of them's Anthony Anderson. Anyways, he's the token black guy in the fucking film, and he's annoying as shit.
I like that guy.
Nah, he's not even funny.
This is gonna get good.
No, I mean, there's nothing.
He's almost goofy. He's like almost
always goofy. That dude's always.
No, I know,
goofy.
but he's like silly goofy, like not even funny at all. I don't know what the hell is with his character in this film, but it's just like, dude, every time he talked, I just wanted to slap the shit out of him, man. It was ridiculous. But anyways, my point is, so we've got these two characters. They're the special effects guys that are working on this film, and ultimately they get pickaxed, and they both get electrocuted to death. Like, there's really not a lot of creativity. They kill these two characters which is actually kind of funny in this film too, because I believe it almost goes in the last hour of the film, there's only like 2 kills in this film or something like that. It's crazy. Yeah. So the pacing within the kills are like so.
Yeah, I mean, so as a slasher, yeah, I guess I don't know, like.
But they killed 2 people
of slashers. Like I know they're never gonna have good kills. Like they barely ever do. Like I don't. I guess I was just interested in the story in this one.
Yeah.
To kind of not notice the kills weren't really there because. I think having that kill at the beginning, the first one with the like, it's actually really gory, like surprisingly gory. I was like, okay, like maybe that like held me over for a while, but like now that you mention it, like I'm like aware of it, but I really didn't notice that there was a lack of kills until you said it.
Well, like I said, though, okay, so you get the majority of the kills in the first, I don't know, 35 minutes of film. The last hour of the film, I have it noted here, there's 3 kills. Because I don't know, I note stupid shit like that. So there's 3 kills in the last hour, and 2 of them happen within 30 seconds of each other. So there's like this massive, massive stretch in this film where there's just a lot of story being told. I find the pacing is just atrocious in this one. It's crazy.
As
like
a slasher, yes. But as like a mystery,
as a slasher.
It's, still, but...
and then we get the last kill.
It's definitely not paced well. I will say that it's average pacing at best.
Eva Menendez, she gets hung, and I think she's the last one, and it's pretty suspect too. You're just like, okay, it's not even like a great kill or anything, but
no, that's a really shitty kill.
I like the scenes early on, like when we first realized that this is a direct sequel or kind of, you know what I mean? It's in the same world for sure. And because you hear that voice of the girl with the, the security lady, and I'm like, oh, I love this chick, and she's like, she like, I love that they're talking about like Foxy Brown and like coffee, because I love coffee, and it's cool, it's cool, and I like that connection there, and you have like a genuine little character moment between these two people that are going to meet up later in the film, and it makes it feel all that more, good when they win or whatever. And I thought I actually did enjoy the setting, the references. Like I like the film, like that they're trying to make films and she's trying to make a movie, and there's like tons of references for, like, there's a poster for Bug from 1975 in the professor's office. Like that's cool to me, you know what I mean? I don't know about
you know what, man, there's a really big missed opportunity in this film too. I mean, he ends up actually surviving in this film, but Joey Lawrence, whoa, whoa, he doesn't get killed. I'm just like, what the? How do you like? I mean, if I was the director of this film, I would probably mutilate, and I would incorporate his, his big gag, whoa, when he does and shit, man. I don't know, man. I just think there's a little bit missed opportunity too with there being a lot of characters. I mean, the majority of the main characters, I guess, all die in this film. There's not a whole lot of them. But
that's the thing with all these movies. There's a lot of fucking characters, and a lot of them that I don't care about at all, and they're hard to follow, and I forget who's who. This
film, and I find in this one right here, you don't care about the characters whatsoever at all, because there's never really any focus on the characters whatsoever, except for our main
I feel like
character.
The main character is well done.
It's just our main character,
and the security guard chick is well done.
Yeah, they're like pretty much the only ones that are kind of developed. So when these people die, it's like you just know right away, like it's very stereotypical too when you have these kind of goofy characters that like they're gonna die like in some retarded way, and it's like, I'm not expecting like brain science writing here and shit like that, but I really think they had a missed opportunity. I think they should have had incorporated a little bit more kills to kind of break up the monotony of the pacing in this film, because I mean, we're given a story here, but ultimately we're watching a fucking slasher film. And what are your guys' thoughts on the way the kid looks in this film, man? I have to say, dude,
I don't like gimmicky like stuff
sense.
like that, but whatever.
He looks like a fencing person.
Not even
that's
that.
what
It's
it
like,
is.
isn't he an old man? How the fuck is he moving so fast at some point?
Why is the costume a fencing?
Wait, what, JP?
He's not an old man.
Well, he's older.
So
he's probably like in his 40s.
The guy looks fit enough. Like Jeremy's like got his walker and cane and shit. But
fuck you, JP.
No. I mean, I don't really. None of these movies ever have a cool killer. None of them. No, I'm the most critical with killers. Period.
Well, what is the deal with this outfit though? Where does that even fit in?
It's the same as. It's just it's dumb. I don't know. It's just a mask.
What else did you?
You know what they should have done here? They should have had a film reel on his head, kind of like the bowling thing.
Jesus Christ, for the love of God! No.
Is that going to go?
You know what I hate? I hate when characters call 911 and they say like, "Oh, there's something attacking me" or something. They're like, "Oh yeah, please," and hang up. And I'm like, "It's fucking 911." Like,
I know that's such bullshit.
Like I hate like your kidneys. Oh, don't tell me your kidney's gone. Yes. Listen, honey, I've got the Princess Di on line 4. I gotta go. Like, dude, get out of here. That's stupid. But I love that this film is set the setting, and they really utilize it. Like, they poke fun at the ridiculous Jeremy type where he's like, it's called cinema verite. You know what I mean? Like, and,
yeah.
And like,
I almost bursted out laughing when they're fucking talking about mise en scène, fucking urban legends, final cut. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
But I like that. Like,
you gotta have some film school terminology in a film that's set in a goddamn film school,
I was
though.
Cracking up laughing like this low budget trash talking about mise en scène.
Yeah.
All right. The kills might not be there. But the mystery is way tighter than the first film. It's way better told. It makes way more sense actually, and there's actually not a ton of there is a lot, but there's compared to the first one they cut down on the impossibleness of it so much by eliminating a lot of those urban legends. There's still a ton of urban legends in this movie, in terms of just like mentions and stuff. Yeah, they're not used for the kills and stuff as that much, but. I really, really, really like this movie for its setting, for the mystery. I actually, I hate the only thing that I really hated was when the killer is like, well, I had to do this because of this, and then I did this because of this, and
the over-explanation.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I know we need to know this stuff, but it's your job as a writer to deliver it creatively and not forcefully. And anytime a killer is mustache twirly and reveals his whole master plan for no reason, could easily end the whole thing there, but has to deliver the crazy...
it's not for actually that's leading up to the scene that Jeremy was talking about, the funny ass gun moment when they realize that the one guy that's tied up isn't the dude that did it. This is where we get our killer reveal, and it's probably the single funniest gunshot of all time. It really fucking is, because this comes out of nowhere, man. You're just like, oh yeah.
When he pulls out like that big sniper rifle and he's fucking like aiming down the shoot.
Oh, you were talking about that one? Oh, okay. The dude was sitting down and he fucking shoots him.
Well, that's a movie scene, Jeremy.
I know, but it's like retarded.
Killer reveal, not their actual film they're doing in the end of the film,
but it's stupid.
But when dude gets shot when he's sitting in that chair, dude, and he gets blown into that movie set with the aliens and shit, I fucking died, man. I was like, that was worth it. That was worth the admission right there. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, I guess we could go into ratings now.
Okay, Jeremy, what do you rate this one?
I mean, even though it sounded like I didn't have a better time with this one than the first one, I did. I think I like the setting, like JP said, and I never really could think of any other films that take place inside of a film school. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's a really, really interesting setting, and I think, which ones?
The Horror 101. It's bad.
Oh, Horror 101 is fucking terrible.
Is that a Wild Eye movie?
No,
it's released by Anchor
90s.
Bay actually.
Oh yeah,
Anchor Bay actually released it. Yeah.
But anyway, I think they take advantage of the film school setting. They just don't like have it there, and it's like it's just part of the setting. I think they use it. They go to all the sound sets and they go to all the stages and all that kind of shit. So at least they use it in that sense, and it was more interesting to watch for me compared to the first movie, basically because of that. So
Scream 3 does it as well.
I mean, it still has its problems with the acting and the. I think the reveal is bonanza, but I think I agree with what JP was saying. I think what he says makes more sense to me now that I think about it. Like I said, I watched it a week ago, so maybe I'm just being stupid and I forgot some parts of it. But I can understand what you're saying, JP. So I am going to come in with a 5 out of 5 on this one, and we're not going to talk about the credits scene.
5 out of 5? What the?
No, 5.5.
Did we just change our rating system?
5.5 out of 10.
Jesus, you're tough on these films, man.
Fucking yeah! I mean, that was a pretty bonanza rating there, buddy.
No, we're not going to talk about the end.
What?
The end credits.
The end credits scene.
That's probably the best scene.
Why do you always sound? Why is there once in every show where Jeremy sounds so far away?
Hey, Jeremy, the microphone has to be close.
It's right here, bro.
Yeah, but you sounded as if you were like down a hallway talking.
I don't know what's going on.
You're too fidgety. Sit still. Anyway, I'm gonna come in on this one. Like, I actually really like this movie. I don't actually even think it's overly badly done. Like, I don't have many critiques on like the bad filmmaking. Like, it's there could have been better kills, and the pacing was I would say bad, but besides that, I think it's a pretty well told story. And I mean, the reveal's a little ridiculous at times, but it actually makes sense at least. And I like the foreshadowing with the gold tint on the guns because of like Foxy Brown and stuff. And I like that stuff, man. I like keeping that character in the film. I'm gonna come in at a 7 out of 10 on this one.
Holy fuck! Yeah, I like the whole. In a sense, it's a little bit cheesy. The one black character, well, not the one black character, but the one character in the film, she's being, she's talking about like Foxy Brown and blaxploitation. I thought it was a little cheesy, but it's fun. It's fun. At least they're referencing good films, anyways, good exploitation films. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't overly care for this film a whole lot. I think the pacing is what really kills this one. A little more kills and things like that, I think. But, the story is actually decently solid in this one. It does make a little bit of sense. I do like how, I don't want to give the whole thing away, but with the killer and why he's targeting the people that he is targeting in the film, I think that's actually pretty decent, which kind of makes sense in itself. Because he has an agenda. There's more than an agenda. It's like, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, he's killing off everybody who was involved with that film so that they can tell them who directed it.
Because those were the only people that had seen his film. Yeah, those were the only people that actually had seen his film. And
that's actually pretty smart. I like that.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the part when he's like, and that means I gave you an A in sound for nothing. Boom! It's the funniest fucking part ever.
Yeah, that's
okay. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, this one, I don't know, man. I think when I'm watching the film, I'm thinking to myself going, the story's pretty good. The reveal's hilarious, but it makes sense and stuff. But man, there's a lot of toss-away characters in this film, man. Like, beyond toss-away characters. Like, even, the goofy effects guys, Stan and Dirk. It's just like... just shaking my head the whole goddamn time I'm listening to these guys talk. They're just so ridiculously goofy, but... One thing I did like within the film school is that they show people actually editing real film. They're not just working on, in Pro Tools or some digital program. They're actually editing real film.
Yeah, JP, that's what they did. I mean, that's what they did in the year 2000.
Yeah, well, I know because I went to school and I went to music school in 2000 and
I would expect not to see them using fucking computers.
Well, no, we did. We worked in Pro Tools and stuff, but we also got taught how to edit, analog stuff too, right? Mm-hmm. So we worked with analog tape and we worked on computer because that was the new way. I mean, everyone was going digital because it was just a lot cheaper too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got to do both. But I like the fact that they actually showed them doing, the physical editing and things like that. It was kind of cool. Yeah, man, just, for a sequel, they did not even try to amp it up with the kills, man. Mm-hmm. It has like 4 less kills in this film, spaced out so poorly. I think that's something that really, really devastates this film, because I literally had myself checking the time multiple times. I'm just like, okay, I know we're going to get this reveal sometime here. And, okay, like, where's the fucking kills? If
you watch it as more of a mystery and not a slasher, I feel like you don't have this problem as much. If you're looking at it like a slasher...
But it's a slasher film, though.
Because they set it up like a slasher from the beginning, too. It's like such a fucking slasher film. And then you kind of...
They set it up like a Saw film. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, with the kidney shit, I guess. But, right after that scene, everything is very kind of slasher-esque and stuff. And, when you're watching a slasher film, for the most part, you don't really have to give 2 shits about a lot of stuff, even the story. You're more or less watching slasher films for the kills and the kill count and just ridiculous tits and stuff. And that's actually another thing that's interesting about this trilogy is there's no nudity in any of these films.
Of the time, dude. There was no... I think it's partially because of the people you're getting in the film. They're like more mainstream actresses and not, lowbrow, like, need money that never work again actresses, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're actually having people that were very popular at the time. They're not going to get nude for cheap, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for the most part. The first urban legend film, you can tell, obviously had a bigger budget. with Rebecca Gayheart and stuff. They make that ridiculous.
Theatrical?
Yep.
This one was?
This one was theatrical too? Wow.
Yeah, it made 38 million.
Wow. Wow, that's very, very amazing. That's amazing, actually.
For 2000, that's pretty good.
I thought this was straight to DVD release, but the actors in this film are definitely lower tier than the first one. Doesn't mean the acting was any better. It was still very, very stiff at times.
Had a $14 million budget.
Quite laughable. Really? $14 million?
It makes sense when you look at the setting. That's not cheap to do.
Probably not.
Dude, interesting. Scott Derrickson wrote this film.
Huh.
Scott Derrickson, who is doing the new Doctor Strange film, and or did that come out already? I don't even remember. And he did Emily Rose, Sinister, Deliver Us from Evil. I think he did Hellraiser 5.
Did Hellraiser 5?
I think so. Scott Derrickson's my dude. I like his movies. What?
Cool. He's your dude.
All right. Did you ever rate yet? What are you doing?
Nope.
No, I'm just going on and on and on. But I still really cannot get over the costume on the killer. It just, what the fuck? Why did they come up with that? Doesn't even make sense. There's no fencing references in this film.
I don't know.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Why does Jason wear a hockey mask? There's no hockey in the film.
Because at least they show you him doing that, getting that mask and shit. Like, this guy is literally dressed in a fencing outfit.
Maybe I just assumed that I bet you there's a deleted scene where there's like
no
a scene
fencing going on at a film school.
No. Like, but you got to remember they're making movies, so maybe there's a fencing scene in one of the movies.
There could be a costume for sure, but it's not mentioned. And just to pick that out of everything, Christ, fuck. Just put lipstick on and some eyeshadow and be better than that shit. But I'm also going with
a bowling bag.
No, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that shit.
That fucking bowling bag shit, man. You're crazy. Yeah. All right, so that's it. Cool. Alrighty, so we thought that we would get into a little bit more urban legend discussion. And basically just kind of go round tree here and list off like our top 3 favorite urban legends of all time. Just our personal favorites, Who wants to start this one? JP.
Okay, I'll start. I love the classics, honestly. Like one of my favorite ever is the clown, the girl babysitting with the... there's different versions of it. You have where there's a house that she's babysitting where the woman is like obsessed with clowns and has a bunch of clown figures and statues and stuff. And then there's just one where at the end of the hall there's a clown sitting in a rocking chair like a clown doll, and it sits there with her the whole night, and she's like hearing weird things or whatever. And then you find out that it's a guy who broke into the house, and it's just something creepy about the fact that he sat there the whole time still, just waiting, watching.
Coming to my amazement, that was actually, I was reading up on that one a little bit, and that's actually kind of a newer urban legend. I was reading on one. I don't know how accurate these writings are and stuff, but they're saying that one kind of originated within like the last 20 years type thing, and I thought that was kind of interesting because
that's a good one, man. Clowns are throughout all
always good
urban legends. There's tons of them.
I like the about that one right there is the simple fact that like the babysitter, whoever's in that house, ends up talking to the owners. And they're like, yeah, man, this clown that you guys have is really creepy. And then they're like, and then they're like, we don't have a clown in our living room.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like that will send fear straight to your heart, man. That is creepy to me. That's one that genuinely like scares me. There's like all the ones with ghosts and different things like that. Like I'm not scared. That will never affect me. We have a castle around here called the Nemacolin Castle. It's like in my hometown, and it has like a long history to like the birth of the town and stuff, but that doesn't even affect me or anything. Another one that I really like is it's a variation of that. It's the killers and the calls coming from inside the house. That one's really good. A modern one that I really like just because it's bizarre is the Ed, Edd and Eddy one. Have you guys heard of that?
No, I don't know what that is.
There was a cartoon show on Cartoon Network called Ed, Edd and Eddy. Apparently one night they broadcasted like a super fucked up, weird, like bizarre, like acid trip, like episode, and like legend has it that it aired and like nobody has a copy of it and stuff, but like it's just, if you look up on it, it's pretty cool just because it's like, it's creepy because it's kids, you know what I mean? It's like a kid's show. And like, who knows? Like something like that maybe could happen. You know what I mean? Some disgruntled employee that somehow has access to this. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But that one's cool. There's a ton that were done like in Are You Afraid of the Dark and stuff. That I also like. But yeah, those are kind of my favorite ones. And then like you have like the non-horror ones, like I guess it's kind of horrific, like the spiders crawling in your mouth when you're sleeping and shit like that. That's kind of creepy. What do you?
I actually told my kid that a couple weeks ago. I shit you not. Such a bad parent.
My turn.
Yeah.
Sure, if you want to go.
All right, so I'm gonna try and pick. Well, I'm just going to pick some of my favorite ones. Most of them aren't not horror, but these are some of my favorite ones. My favorite urban legend is that Paul McCartney died in a car accident in 1966 and was replaced with a look-alike. That's like one of my favorite urban legends hoax that I've ever heard. There's made documentaries about it and everything like that. Basically, Ringo Starr said that Paul McCartney died in a car crash during a recording session one night and that he was replaced by a look-alike that was that won a contest for a Paul McCartney lookalike, and there's like clues on the Sgt. Pepper's album that shows that Paul McCartney died in a car crash. In one song, he blew his mind out in a car, which is a famous song. A Day in the Life is the name of the song. And there's just a whole bunch of different things about Paul McCartney dying in a car crash on that album and things like that. So that's one of my favorite urban legends. It's total bullshit, but I always liked that one. And like I said earlier on the show, Steve Burns from Blue's Clues dying of a heroin overdose. That was another one of my favorites.
That actually happens with a lot of people. Like the guy who was on the Dude, You're Getting Adele commercials. Like I heard that about him. And then the Can You Hear Me Now Verizon guy. But I think that guy's still alive actually because he was in.
They even talk about Mikey in the original Urban Legend film, how he apparently died from eating Pop Rocks and shit like that, right?
Yeah, so like this is the one.
That's kind of yeah.
Steve from Blue's Clues. They say he died from, and this is like recent that this has picked up some media coverage recently within the last few months. Actually, I remember seeing it on Facebook and the Today Show and shit like that. Like Steve Burns, he was the host of Blue's Clues. Everybody said that he died from a heroin overdose. Because he left the show and he wasn't in show business ever again. But like recently, they've like done stories about him. Like he's alive and he's a musician now and he plays in some kind of indie hipster band, but that's one of my favorites. It says very here on this quote, it's very different from Paul McCartney, so they're talking about the one that I just talked about, but that's one of my other favorite ones. Another one of my favorite ones was Mr. Rogers, a Navy SEAL. There's an urban legend that Mr. Rogers was a sniper in Vietnam.
It has like 15 confirmed kills.
Yeah, like he killed a lot of people. It's totally not true.
That's a Pittsburgh one.
Mr. Rogers' balls were hitting the floor when he could even be in the fucking army during Vietnam, so it really doesn't matter. But that's one of my favorite ones. There's more about Mr. Rogers, but that's my favorite one about him. So those are my 3 favorite ones. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as JP. There's a lot of classic ones I really love, especially ones I heard growing up. One of my favorites is the hanging boyfriend one. I like the variations of that story too. I always thought it was quite interesting. Just the way it would be told sometimes. I like
it just seems so impractical though.
It does. It completely does. But I like the fact of, the variation where the boyfriend obviously goes out to take a leak and he ends up getting strung up and stuff. And she can hear his feet scratching on there. And she's like, shit like that. She's like, what the fuck is going on kind of thing. And she freaks out. But the only thing keeping him alive, he's actually hanging just low enough that the car is saving his life. So when she freaks out and decides, well, fuck, he's not coming back type of thing, I'm going to drive the car away. And then she ultimately kills him herself by moving the car.
Yeah, that's
I always
cool.
I always thought that was kind of a cool variation of it. So yeah, the hanging boyfriend is classic. I mean, yeah, like you said, pretty impractical. Probably could never really happen, but it's still fun to think about. Another one that's really probably not practical either, but I've always thought this one was very interesting. And I don't know if they've ever really done this in a film before. I'm not 100% sure. But are you guys familiar with the Vanishing Hotel room?
No.
Urban legend?
Like on the 13th floor or something?
No, basically what it is, it's about this mother and daughter. They check into this hotel, and shortly after arriving there, the mother becomes like really, really ill. Like she comes down with something crazy. And so the daughter contacts the front and says, I need to go out. Like, where can I get some medicine? My mother's really sick type deal. And so the people that are working in this hotel, they figure out something with her disease. Maybe it was caused from something in the hotel or something like that. And so what they do is they actually kind of delay the daughter coming back. So they kind of escort her out to get the medicine, but it's taking so long, and like she's being held up and shit like that, because what they're doing back at the hotel is they're rearranging everything. They're getting rid of her mom. They're rearranging the room, the whole look of the hotel and stuff. So when she arrives, they're like, what do you mean? You checked in here alone. You didn't have a mom, because they were fearful that, people would find out that her mom got really sick from the hotel and they didn't want that bad publicity. So they just changed everything on her and made her feel like she was going fucking nuts type thing. It's very impractical, but it's like, it's kind of an interesting urban legend of people actually going through and doing this type of thing. Right.
As you was talking about that, it reminded me of another urban legend that we covered. Like it turns out we've covered a lot of films that are essentially based in urban legends sometimes, but on the 2002 show Dark Water, about the drowned person on the roof or whatever.
Yeah That's right. Yeah, so many, right? But yeah, that's the Vanishing Hotel room. I think that one's pretty interesting. That'd be kind of cool to actually do. I don't know how you'd incorporate that into a film, but my favorite one of all time is one that I heard as such a young child, and I heard so many different variations of it, and it used to literally scare the shit out of me. I remember going on road trips. I would always be looking for her, and that's the Vanishing Hitchhiker. I've heard so many cool stories. This one, the most frightening one for myself was, of course, my dad was telling me the story about his buddy. He was driving back from Edmonton to Prince George one time, and late at night through the Pine Pass, and it's a very, very dark, isolated area, kind of like the Highway of Tears. And he apparently saw this girl on the road, so he's like, well, fuck, it's like 2 a.m, I gotta pick her up type thing. So, of course, he stops the vehicle, kind of backs up, and she's not there, of course, as the legend goes. And he's like, well, where the fuck did she go type thing? So he kind of gets out, looks for a little bit, and she's nowhere to be found. So, of course, he decides to take off, continue on with his journey. About 200-300 yards up the road, he looks over, and there's this girl standing on the step side of his truck, looking in the passenger window. Of course,
cold chills just now, bro.
Yeah, and of course, he slams on the brakes and goes, holy fuck, I've got this girl attached to my truck. I'm going to kill her. So he slams on the brakes, and she's nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. So that one right there always always used to give me the chills. I was like, that is crazy, because every time I'd be driving, I'd always thinking about that. And I like the other variation of that, the Vanishing Hitchhiker story too. I think this one originated in North Carolina or something. I think I read that a long time ago, or just recently or whatever. But there's the one story of course, the same type of deal. This guy's driving home. He sees a girl on the side of the road, but he actually picks her up, and she physically gets into his car. And she just says, I just live up, up the highway here. Can you drop me off at this address? And so he does. He drops her off at this house and goes and continues along with his journey, only to realize when he gets home, she's left a sweater in the back seat. So he goes, well, I'll return it in the morning. I know I can remember where she lives, so I'll just do that. So he does. He drives back to the house where he dropped her off, and this old lady answers the door, and he goes, oh, I must have given your daughter a ride, or dropped off your daughter last night. And she goes, oh yeah, my daughter died 27 years ago. I think she's still trying to get home.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, right? Like,
that's a classic tale right there. That's been adapted in many variations, like so often, about the ghost that's forced to like relive that night over and over and over again. And I think Dead End even is kind of that story.
That's pretty much
in
what
a
it
variation. Is. But yeah, that's a good one too.
So yeah, those are probably my favorite ones. It's just they give me the hitchhiker shit. I don't know, something about, how much I love road horror. Mm-hmm. I think this is why I like these ones too, like the Vanishing Hitchhiker and stuff, because it kind of falls into that. If you were to ever come around here, like driving on these highways is very, very isolated and very dark, and shit is fucking creepy, dude. Like, I don't know how many times I've been driving and I said to myself, like, if I break down, they're never gonna find my body. It's like creepy shit, man. So, but yeah, so those are probably my favorite ones. I mean, there's so many other ones. I like the whole. You guys are probably familiar with the Cropsey story. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
We didn't mention at all, yet it's which
Cropsey's...
we actually covered a Cropsey legend in Madman.
Yes, exactly. Yep, yeah, pretty much the exact same thing. Yeah, so I think that one originated from Staten Island.
And then there's of course The Burning, which is also Cropsey oriented.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean. Lots of really, really classic ones. The one that I've always thought was really interesting was the Missing Bride one. Have you guys ever heard this one?
Yeah, it's in this movie.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is. 100%. Well, it's Bloody Mary and Missing Bride, exactly. So we won't even get into that then. But on that note, let's get into the third urban... Jesus Christ. The third urban legend film from 2005, titled Urban Legend Bloody Mary.
Directed by a woman we've covered one of her films very recently.
2 films, you retard.
2 films.
Yeah. So this is the third film by Mary Lambert we've actually covered.
Yeah, and I remember when we were talking about how she got her start in music videos. I forget where I was going with that, but there was somebody else that I just remembered got their start in music videos as well that I heard after we recorded that show. Because I remember we commented on like, oh, wow, she just did music videos and then got this film.
Was that David Fincher we were talking about?
Yeah, we were talking about somebody.
We did mention it in Alien.
Fincher. Yeah, Alien 3.
Okay, never mind. So she has done a lot of stuff, really. Like, she did Pet Sematary, obviously, probably her best film. But she did a lot of TV. She went on and did, what did you say, Jeremy?
Her most recent film was Mega Python vs. Gatoroid.
Yeah, so
that movie gives me hemorrhoids, not Gatoroids, that's for sure.
She did the Halloween Town 2, and yeah, I mean, she did this one, but it was also written by Michael Dougherty.
Yeah, I know.
Which is extremely interesting. Michael Dougherty wrote X-Men 2. And then this. And then Superman Returns, Trick or Treat, Krampus, X-Men Apocalypse, and then...
Gotta pay the bills.
He's doing the upcoming Godzilla King of the Monsters film.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So, yeah. I mean, and when you think about it, I guess technically the story to this movie isn't that bad.
No, it really isn't, actually. It's, a little bit in the execution. But we'll get into a little quick synopsis here. On a prom night dare, a trio of high school friends chant an incantation, unleashing an evil spirit from the past with deadly consequences. It's not really the best synopsis, actually.
Well, you think about why they went supernatural. Is the question.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna dub your film,
at this point, like, you could continue if this one had been successful, you continue making urban legend movies and just do like the Halloween effect with Halloween 3, where you just pick a different story. It doesn't have to be a slasher anymore. It could be anything. It could be.
Well, wasn't the rumor was like, I think I can't remember what I read, but I read somewhere that they were supposed to make a fourth one. I think it was like called Urban Legend. Here it says Urban Legends Goldfield Murders. However, after being impressed by the DVD sales of Urban Legends Bloody Mary, Sony bought back the rights to the franchise. The film was later released under the title Ghosts of Goldfield.
Oh shit! So
Ghosts of Goldfield
we could have did a quadrilogy here.
I've reviewed that. I've actually reviewed that film before.
At Ghost of Goldfield was supposed to be Urban Legends Goldfield Murders.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think I might have reviewed that like on Body Bag. I don't know, way back in the day. But yeah, that's a really, really low budget film, like micro budget.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So, well, that's interesting. But yeah, Urban Legends Bloody Mary. Of course, this is the basis of this film is the Bloody Mary case, and the missing bride, I guess, is incorporated into this too. They kind of put both these in there, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, they also incorporate other urban legends as well.
They do. Yeah, within some of the kills, they do for sure. I don't know, man. What are your guys' thoughts on this one? I think Mary Lambert's definitely did a little bit better work than this one in the past. But,
well, I have to say, like, for a straight-to-DVD film, it's not that bad. I think if we would have looked at it in the lens that this was a theatrical release like the other two, then we could say, like, oh, this is pretty shitty. But when you think about it, like, the fact that it was a straight-to-DVD film, I mean, it's not too bad.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, it's not, like, good, but it's definitely the worst out of the three. But it's like a mid-early 2000s straight-to-DVD horror film. I mean, I've seen worse.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse, too. So basically, at the beginning of the film, we get a backstory here, the Bloody Mary backstory, taking place in 1969, Salt Lake City, homecoming dance. We got 3 jocks, probably the guys that run the football team.
Which none of these people look like they were from the 60s.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So, and these guys are pieces of shit, really. Like they have drugged 2 of the girls, and they're trying to drug Mary. She kind of resists a little bit, has more or less a confrontation with one of the guys, and he fucking kills her. Basically ends up punching her in the fucking head, and she falls, hits her head, and dies. And he places her in a trunk in, I believe, in the basement of the school, apparently where no one has ever looked in the history.
And of course not, because why would you going forward either?
Like, okay. So, and then it jumps forward to the present day, and then
that's too easy.
We've got these 3 girls.
That's a variation of the missing bride, where the bride, it's like a game of hide and seek in a mansion, and the bride hides in a trunk, and it latches, and then nobody can hear her because it's a mansion. So what the story, she eventually dies.
So what the urban legend is on that one is the bride, they decide to play. I guess in some cultures they actually do this. After the wedding, they'll play a quick game like hide and go seek and things like that, and that's what happens. She hides in this trunk upstairs in this attic with latches on her. No one ever finds her because the husband actually thinks that maybe she got some cold feet after she got married, I guess, and it bolted.
Oh, that's some bullshit.
But that's what I've always had problems with that urban legend. I'm like, why would nobody ever check upstairs? In the fucking trunk?
It's supposedly in a giant mansion, but still the police would be there. Like, it would be full search.
Full-blown investigation,
That's what I had problems with this story too. I'm like, okay, so this Mary girl goes missing, they find the other 2 girls, blah blah blah, but they never find her. I mean, they never thought to investigate all around the school. I mean, let's put it this way. If we know from police investigations that probably wouldn't happen, they would probably find that body.
It does help that it's from the 60s, but I feel like they still would bring in like scent dogs and
1969, they would have had scent dogs. They would have found that body probably in no time, which is crazy because it was right there. So, the story's a little bit stupid, but it is being played off the ridiculous urban legend of the missing bride. So it's a little bit forgivable. Jump to the present day. We've got 3 girls, which I love the scene. These 3 girls telling these urban legend myths and things like that. And, they're doing girly things like having pillow fights in their sexy underwear, which thank you, Mary Lambert, for doing that. That's amazing. And so they start telling these stories, and they actually conjure up. They do the Bloody Mary thing. They say the Bloody Mary thing like 3 times.
I thought you had to say that shit in a mirror.
Yeah, well, that's
Biggie Smalls, Biggie Smalls, Biggie Smalls.
I guess in this variation, don't really have. But ultimately, what happens is they end up waking up, like they end up missing. In the beginning, they're like missing, and so they end up showing back up. I guess they got ultimately drugged by these football players. Gateway drugged, essentially. So they kind of made their way back and stuff like that. And at the same time, they've conjured
date rape drug.
Because that totally happened in 1969.
Yeah.
No, this is present day now.
This is present, so
okay, yeah, yep. Gotcha.
So, and anyways, they make their way back and stuff, and meanwhile, I guess since they've done this, they've conjured up Bloody Mary, and essentially this is a supernatural revenge film, is what it is. Mm-hmm. She's coming back for revenge against certain people, obviously because of
lucky they're in the same town that Bloody Mary is in.
Yeah,
in the same.
But I mean, conveniently enough, one of the survivors, they ended up. Well, they killed her off before they even introduced it. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, so that's what we got here. So
and then the brother comes in and disses Candyman. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
The legend came first.
Candyman ripped off Bloody Mary. Yeah,
it did, but
yeah, it did.
It did. But he doesn't need to say it. The Candyman's a better movie.
Wow. Thanks for letting me know, JP. I didn't notice
the first thing I noticed about this film, and I thought was quite interesting to note at least, Kate Mara, who plays the main character in this film, she is like a splitting image of Neve Campbell. She's like a better looking version of Neve Campbell. I don't know if that was intended. I don't know if that was intended, just to have that type of look in the character, just to kind of relate back to obviously Scream and things like that.
Yeah,
because
Neve Campbell's character too, though, 2005.
Exactly, but it's the same type of thing. I don't know if it was intended, but I couldn't help but notice that she looks identical to Neve. I mean, when you first look at her, that's fucking Neve Campbell. But just to kind of incorporate that strong female type character and stuff. I don't know if they did that purposely. Probably, I don't know, but I had to mention it because I think she's fucking hot. Kate Mara's hot, man.
Yeah, they definitely have attractive women up in this film. I just think it's a mess, dude.
Okay, I don't find it overly that bad. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You conjure up Bloody Mary, and the reason why, or the people that she's killing off, does actually make sense to a point. I mean, you think that she would probably go after the actual people that killed her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why? Like,
but I understand there's probably, that's probably something people have a problem with in this film because, but the ultimate revenge is to hurt someone that you love because now you got to live with it kind of thing, right? See, that's the way I kind of saw the revenge is like, man, I could see that though. Like if I did something to somebody like that and then they came back and killed my kid, dude, that's fucking brutal, man. That's brutal. I think that's a brutal storyline, man. Yeah. I mean, because now you got to live with that shit.
But what about all the other kids?
What about all the other kids?
Like all the other jock type.
Well, pretty much every character in this film besides the main girls are total pieces of shit. Absolutely total pieces of shit. But I mean, all the kids that are killed in this film are related to the people that, took her youth from her.
I can't even get usually like the jock assholes are at least kind of cool, like you could see why they're popular or something. Like these dudes are lame ass dudes, man. They don't even look cool.
Well, I mean, you don't really get to know Roger all that much, the guy that gets burned up in the tanning bed.
What's up with tanning beds and
that doesn't make sense. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
It doesn't make sense because there's no timeline given in that scene, and it's like, okay, so he burnt to a fucking crisp in what, 30 seconds or 45
even if it wasn't, I don't think those things go that high to burn you alive.
No.
Man, what about Final Destination 3, mofo? Tanning bed beds in Final Destination 3?
You would probably have to be in there for you have to, even to burn something in an oven at 450 degrees, it has to be in there for a fucking while.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, it has to be a while. So, I mean, the timeline in that is pretty fucking ridiculous.
I just can't remember how burnt they were in Final Destination. If they were just melty or they were, like, burnt to a crisp. I can't remember.
They were definitely not.
I think they were, I don't know. In this one, they're, like, charcoaled, man.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Yeah. That dude's lame, but that chick was hot.
So I guess that's kind of an urban legend in itself, though, too. the person going into a tanning bed and locking and then burning up. So that, I think pretty much all the kills in this film are, they have the one where the hot chick, she gets the spiders coming out her face. She kind of rips off her whole face.
Oh my God, dude, that is terrible.
I have to say, man, that's one of the points in the film. Besides, actually, when they first conjure up Bloody Mary, the CG in that scene is fucking atrocious. But the CG in the spider scene is probably the worst CG in the history of CG, man.
No, that goes to Langoliers, but this is.
Yeah,
this is like, dude.
Cube 2, man. Cube 2 CGI is pretty fucking horrible.
This is pretty bad
because Cube 2, though, dude.
The funny thing about this scene is when she has these spiders coming out of her face and shit, and she starts ripping off. You can tell that she is just acting without the spiders there, because where she's like hitting and stuff, there's no spiders. They didn't even they had bad spider placement.
Yeah, dude, they did have bad spider placement. And you know what, man?
Put it where she's where she's fucking hitting herself and stuff. I'm like, this is bullshit,
dude,
man.
I could see how on paper, like, Mike Doherty writing this scene, like you don't know how they're going to make it. You just hope that they can, because it's a kind of a cool scene. Like, I think that the idea is great. You know what I mean? And if it had they not looked like complete shit, I would have found it very like cringy and like icky. You know what I mean? But Jesus Christ, man. And they instead of like, you know how sometimes if you're going to have to do CGI, it's like, oh, well, we'll just do it real fast and do it like quick. So like, it's not on screen. Like, this goes on forever.
Yeah, dude. It kind of like all three of these films. I think all three of these films are too long for their own good. I believe this is the shortest one at like 93 minutes or something.
They're all like the same length, pretty much.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, they're not 93, 98, 99 minutes or whatever, but I think they're all a little bit too long, even for those time constraints. So, but yeah, I mean, one thing I did like about this film, I mean, the whole Bloody Mary aspect and the fact that, she's killing, like, I mean, the urban legend itself of Bloody Mary is actually killing people off in other urban legends. So, I can respect that. I mean, at least they tried to go back to the roots and incorporate a lot of urban legend kills and stuff. Like, we have the guy that pisses on the electric fence and goes up stink. That's pretty funny. It's so fucking stupid though, man. So stupid.
Blew stink off.
They even incorporate, cutting off his finger, which they end up doing to Buck, right? So that's kind of cool.
Not a stink.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of fun. I mean, there's definitely things in the plot that are kind of ridiculous. Like, I mean,
it's not the worst straight to DVD early 2000 film. That's for sure.
It really isn't. I think there's minor plot holes and stuff with Mary, in the way they're investigating her. Well, just the fact that she's having like these weird visions, like our main character, she's like having visions and stuff, and like how all that kind of stuff is going on. I mean, I guess you're going to throw that into the film, just to kind of make it half believable, but it's all ultimately not really. You know what I'm saying?
Like, she's just acting's shitty in this movie too, like way worse than the other two.
Yeah, I think it's definitely pretty poor. I mean, I don't think what is it, Sam, our main character? I don't think she's overly that bad. There is moments where brother's pretty shitty in too. But I have to admit, like, the adults in this film, like Bill and Jacoby and shit like that, like, they are fucking horrible. Jacoby, they are fucking terrible actors and obviously characters and shit. But but yeah, I just had a little bit of problems the way that Mary was the way our main character Sam was getting these visions and stuff from her and things like that, because ultimately they didn't really kind of lead her to where she was and stuff, that they actually ended up finding out that type of stuff on their own, or through investigative stuff. So I felt like all of those type of scenes were really unneeded in the film. What do you guys think of those? I was like, they're just adding the supernatural shit in there for like no fucking reason. I thought it was ridiculous.
I hate like even this.
Well, I'm just saying,
like the scenes where we see like Mary, like I think those are all shitty. Like they're supposed to be scary, and it's like, oh, Mary's here, like it's cringy, bad.
Yeah, because the CG is so bad. But
oh my god, dude! Like I could tell that had like influence of like Japanese ghost stories, like The Ring and stuff like that.
Well, there's literally a scene where she's crawling underneath a bed, and that's fucking The Ring right there.
First of all, most of the time, I don't find those Japanese scary ghost stories scary to begin with, let alone if you make them look super shitty.
But I do like that scene, though. I mean, not that particular part, but of the asshole football player there. I like that whole urban legend that people can lick too. That story is kind of creepy too, though.
That story is creepy, actually.
Right? Man, that fucking dog looks so bad hanging in the closet, though. Which they used the closet instead of the bathtub in this one, but the dog looked pretty
Yeah, it's not as good as Urban Legends 2's dog kill. Or no, that was the first one. Urban Legends 1. No? Was it 2 or 1?
I think it was 2.
Which one was the microwave dog?
It was 2. That was at the party. Right?
No, in part 1.
Number 1.
Was it?
In the first one. Yep.
Yeah, you're
that
right. You're right.
Oh.
Anyway, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's pretty straightforward stuff in this one. There's really not a whole... I mean, they try to touch on the vending machine one. Finger in the bottle. They're doing all these type of things. Acting is super stiff in this film. I will admit that, but at least there's some hot chicks. I think one of the best characters, actually, one of the funniest characters is the what the hell is the black chick, man, from the movie, the hippie, where they go to the hippie's place.
Oh yeah.
I kind of like her, man. I kind of like her. Did you guys even watch this fucking film or what?
It's yeah, I know who you're talking about. But I just, dude.
I watch it on Wednesday. Shit's trying to
So you watched it a while ago, then?
I watched it on Wednesday, or no? What? No, when did I text you? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Another long show.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched it last night.
Let's get into ratings, please.
All right, well, I'll go first here. Again, it's pretty standard stuff. I do like the whole Bloody Mary thing, how they incorporate all the urban legends. I think that's what you need to put in these type of films if they're going to be dubbed as an urban legend film. You might as well do that. Not bad. I think the acting in this film is pretty shitty. There's a lot of investigative stuff. It's a little bit too long. It's got really, really, really bad CG effects in it and stuff. But oddly enough, it's kind of fun. To be honest, it's not really the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Even with all those kind of borderline attributes to the film, it has its moments. It has definitely its moments and shit like that. It's definitely not the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. So I am still going to give this one a pass at 5.5 out of 10. I don't really mind this one. I think the ending's a little bit ridiculous. I think this one is a little bit ridiculous with what the fuck is, I guess, not the reveal of the killer. We know who the killer is the entire film, but what he ends up doing to like his stepson and shit like that, I think that whole scene is complete and utter shit. Because it just the way they kind of edited into it, it's the transitions into that scene seem so fucking stupid. Yeah, I don't know. That would actually really kind of bug me and shit like that. And she really never knows what happens to her brother by the end of the film either, which is kind of fucked up too. So I don't know, kind of bad writing, I guess, but I still don't mind it, to be honest. So.
Okay, Urban Legends Bloody Mary. This movie's bad. It is a bad movie, 100%. Like Mood says in the intro, it's actually not good. It's quite bad. This movie, like the last show we did was Laid to Rest, Chrome Skull, right? This movie has like the same level of shit in it. It has terrible CGI, terrible. Like, and it's not just one or two.
It does have a better story.
Debatable, considering everything about the story is like doesn't make sense from the very beginning of it. The very beginning doesn't make sense.
The whole Bloody Mary thing never makes sense, right? I mean, first of all, they didn't even say Bloody Mary in a fucking mirror, and they still conjured her up. Yeah, somehow that legend was born in 1969, no kind of thing. I don't know,
dude. I don't know, man. This movie, like, I did not enjoy it barely at all. Like, I laughed at the CGI spider stuff, but. It was an annoying watch. I will say this: the early parts of the film where you first have the three girls, I was down. I was like, oh, okay, this is like a fun, teenage horror type thing. Like I actually liked them interact. It reminded me like The Craft or something like that, where they're interacting and stuff. Like I'm down with that. There's just stuff that annoyed me about this movie. Like the mother's like, wake your sister up or whatever. It's literally the same room. Like it's like she can see into that room, and she's been cooking breakfast all morning and don't notice that her kids ain't there. Like, get out of here. Like, just little things like that are annoying. It's like, it's the same. There's a gap. There's a gap. This movie, I didn't like this movie at all. Like, to me, it's atrocious.
You didn't get any fun out of it though, man.
No, it's a bad movie. It's so bad. It's a bad movie.
It is bad. I thought the kills were better in this film than the previous one too. So that was kind of an upper for me too. I think they're a little bit better. I mean, anything with penis mutilation and stuff, or a penis blowing up, I'm gonna laugh at that. It's pretty funny.
Your penis explosions.
This movie is so hard to be taken serious. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, it's
but
like
it's
I said, it's a bad film.
I can see it being like so bad it's good, entertaining. You know what I mean? If I'm in the right mood for that. But that still doesn't affect my rating. This movie sucks. It's a 3.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think you might have been in a pissy mood while watching this one. I mean, honestly, this is the type of movie, though, if you're not in the mood to watch a film like this, yeah, you're probably not going to get any enjoyment out of it. I was in a really fucking good mood when I watched this movie last night.
But
so
still, dude, it's badly done. Like, it is
bad.
It is.
I did. I said it was bad, but there was still enough entertainment value.
Fun.
And enough.
4 out of 10 for me.
It could be fun all at once, but it's badly made.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Mary Lambert, man, she's gone a little bit downhill since Pet Sematary, right?
Jesus Christ. So, what was you said 4, Jeremy?
4 out of 10. Okay. Yeah, we were kind of all over the place on our ratings within this franchise. So
it doesn't make the Hall of Pain. Unfortunately, it deserves to be there.
Nah, I don't think so. I think this one's definitely better than all the films that are in the Hall of Pain. That's for sure. We got some pretty shit fucking diarrhea films in there.
Oh man, I can't remember what's in. I mean, you're okay. If you're like, hey, would you rather watch The Howling 4 or this? I would probably pick this. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Who would watch The Howling 4? That movie's
I would rather
atrocious.
watch Howling 7 than this.
Because
that movie is so bad that it's entertaining.
That movie is so bad it's fucking irritating. That goddamn shitty country music soundtrack. Fuck my life.
I would rather watch Children of the Corn 4, Jaws 4.
Children of the Corn 4
Halloween.
Is good, man. Fuck
I mean,
that
5. Children of the Corn 5, Jaws
not
4, or Halloween Resurrection over this.
It's the best sequel, Children.
I do agree. Children of the Corn 5 is, oh my god.
Not as bad as 6.
Film. That movie's fucking, 6. Yeah, 6 is atrocious. But yeah, I mean, no Hall of Painters on this one. Do we have anything coming up? There's gonna be a Hall of Painter? I don't know.
We just had a Hall of Painter with Dream Cruise.
Yes, Dream Cruise is fucking atrocious. Bad. It's bad.
It's.
Speaking of halls, fuck Jerry, fuck Tim, fuck Steven, fuck Louise, fuck Mike, and fuck Neil.
Who said the other day that Dream Cruise wasn't that bad? Was it?
Zaza.
Or someone? Yeah, they're like, no, that movie's actually not that bad. I'm like,
Dave. I think Dave Z liked it too.
Holy fuck, that's great. I can't believe David must be it's the Asian. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's bizarre. Asian influence.
But man, dude, like I don't know, dude. I couldn't get into this one that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I think this is a great example of a film where you kind of need to be in the mood to watch something like that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the second one. You know, a 7 out of 10 compared to this shit, which is a 3.5. Mm-hmm. And then I like the first one too. I just don't think it's like overly great. But this one, I just didn't get down with it at all. I can understand. I do admit that if I watched this with like another person and like poked fun at it, like one of my movie night videos or something, it would be a hoot because there's plenty of stuff to make fun of in this movie. But yeah,
I'm still not letting part two live down with not killing Joey Lawrence off though. I mean, he gets shot and then you see him in the end making the film and shit. I'm like, the fuck, he didn't die? Whoa. That was my reaction. I was like,
the killer from part 1 is in the end of part 2, right?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
name dropper. But there's actually a really funny line that they drop actually in the end of the first Urban Legend that ties into Rebecca or to her character and her real life. It's actually quite funny, actually. I don't know if you guys caught that. I guess you'd have to see it. It was basically referring to some type of commercials that she had done.
Yeah.
So I thought that was actually quite funny.
So that is The Urban Legends show. Definitely fun.
Leave comments down below if you guys want to hear or more urban legend type shows, because I think we could dig in the crates here and find a shitload of them. There's just so
I wouldn't mind doing a
of...
Jersey Devil one. Give us a chance to cover the last broadcast. A cryptozoology Bigfoot episode. I'm sure we could do a couple films from there. Of course, like like when you're talking cryptozoology, that's like a complete different branch of urban legends. Like you got like the Loch Ness Monster and Yetis and all kind of weird shit out there.
Yetis,
Mothmans and stuff. But there's tons and tons and tons and tons of urban legend films, and I'm sure we could do more of these. So definitely let us know. There was, man, I swear to God, there was something that I wanted to say before we. Oh yeah, guys, how does it feel to be in the presence of a 2-time Stanley Cup back-to-back champion right now?
Fuck you, you fucking bitch.
Oh, Jeremy, you're butthurt about everything. Jesus Christ.
Look, I'm sorry that the team that absolutely destroyed the Blackhawks lost to us. I'm sorry that happened. But, you know, that's what happens.
Impressive, man. It's really, really impressive to win back-to-back Stanley Cups in this day and age.
Nobody's done it in the salary cap era. Oof.
Man, like fucking the Penguins were beat the shit up. That was crazy, man. Crazy. I'm glad that my boy Crosby could fucking pull that shit out, though.
You're actually not a Penguins hater, unlike Jeremy. Every time we get lost,
I give credit where credit's due. Crosby's like my favorite player, though.
Throughout the entire Stanley Cup, every time we lost, Jeremy talked shit. Every time.
You blew it!
One night I was having a really bad night and I didn't even want to hear it. I fucking left the chat. I was like, fuck this.
Did you see that play in that fucking Jays game where I forgot who got walked, but he was walking. I think it was against Tampa Bay.
Batista, and he stole second?
Yeah, when he was walking.
Yeah, the catcher or the pitcher was all fucking pissed off that he walked and put his head down and walked off the mound. Fucking stole second. Yeah, that's a rare play, man. You don't see that very often.
I saw that online. I was cracking up.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty funny. But that is going to conclude episode 105 here, the Urban Legends Trilogy Show. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I really had a lot of fun with this, reading up on urban legends and just kind of reliving the childhood memories and thinking back to the campfires and shit, man. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with this episode, man. So, Jeremy, take us the fuck out of here.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 105 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. As always, if you want to follow the man himself, you could do so at youtube.com/moods616. If you want to follow JP, who you still should not watch his full moon unboxing review, you could do so at youtube.com/doubleshotj. And as always, you can follow me on my channel, youtube.com/NESWord22. I don't know why you would, because my videos aren't that good. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook. Facebook.com search bar 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/22 Shots Podcast, where you can watch JP post pictures of movies that he's watching that no one cares about. And as always, you could leave us an email, 22 Shots of Moods and Horror @gmail.com. That's 22 Shots of Moods, AND Horror @gmail.com. And as always, if you have any questions, you can leave us a voicemail at 724-426-6665. And as always, please go to our affiliate links, horrorpack.com/go/22 shots, and as well as terror threads. And as always, that should be it, everybody, for episode 105 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. I shall be taking a good long 3-week break while these fuckers plan.
Probably even longer, considering, that's when we record, and then, you know what I mean?
Well, I'll talk to you fuckers in a month then, as these mofos kick me out. And they team up with those homos exploding heads, and they do the 86 show. I may or may not make an appearance. We shall see. But stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge show, guys. Get ready for it.
Well, technically, you'll be a part of, because we're going to do a random drawing for another year, and then you'll be on that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So,
but you have to not slack on it, because it does take lots of effort.
Yeah, it's been a lot of prep for this.
Yeah, I still have a lot to go, honestly. But Jeremy actually might give us a top 5 or top 10 clip for 86, since he won't be part of it. But
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge show. Those shows always do well. I'm excited to see what the next year is going to be, too. Like, that's one of the more exciting parts of doing those shows.
So what are we going to incorporate? The 70s and 2011 to 12?
Through 79, and then 2010 to 2012. And I might just throw, like, a random year from the 50s in there. Just
93.
90s and the early 2000s, or the the aughts, or what is it called, discontinued, disqualified from this drawing, because we've already done shows on those.
Yeah.
And then the 80s will be disqualified too, because
we're trying to get some new decades here.
Yeah. So every time we do one, we eliminate a decade that we already done, and then once it goes full circle and we get back to I guess it would just be so it has to be the 70s next, or an early 2000s year, and then after that we can probably recycle all the years again.
Sweet.
All right,
gonna be a fun show. Well, see you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.